Chapter 562. You're begging for mercy now. It's too late. Ling Xiao sneered. He could tell from Celestial Venerable Nan's primordial spirit that the weapon spirit didn't have good intentions towards him. He had been instigating Celestial Venerable Nan to kill him and steal the wordless heavenly book. The weapon spirit seemed to know some of the secrets of the wordless heavenly book and was very concerned about it. Ling Xiao didn't dare to keep such a sinister existence by his side. It was better to kill him. Boom! The divine chains of order intertwined, and the dazzling golden lightning struck the weapon spirit's body, exploding with terrifying power. The sky-devouring golden lotus turned into a huge devouring vortex and began to devour the weapon spirit. The weapon spirit saw that Ling Xiao was determined to kill him. His eyes were filled with madness as he roared, "Since you don't want me to live, then let's die together." Boom! The artifact spirit emitted an incomparably terrifying aura. It actually began to burn in an instant, emitting some kind of divine and immortal matter. Its aura actually surpassed the sovereign realm in an instant, reaching some kind of profound realm. Divine spirit. Ling Xiao's body shook as his eyes flickered. The weapon spirit had burned his primordial spirit. Even the wordless heavenly book couldn't suppress him. A weapon spirit comparable to a divine spirit? There are indeed many secrets. A sharp light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He burned the 10 million pure yang pills in an instant, turning them into a torrent of energy that fused into the wordless heavenly book. At the same time, he activated the power of the sky-devouring golden lotus to suppress the artifact spirit. Rumble. Lightning flashed as the void trembled. If it wasn't for the protection of the wordless heavenly book, Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness would have been shattered. Although the weapon spirit's realm was high and he had burned his primordial spirit, he was still a weapon spirit. His power was extremely weak. Ling Xiao used all his strength to activate the wordless heavenly book and suppressed the weapon spirit in the end. Ling Xiao, you'll die a horrible death. You'll die a horrible death. The weapon spirit roared. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and fear as he was completely suppressed by the wordless heavenly book. Boom! The wordless heavenly book emitted a dazzling light, ancient and mysterious. It floated in the chaotic void. The power of laws intertwined and began to erase the imprint of the implement spirit. The sky-devouring golden lotus began to devour the memories of the implement spirit. The memories of the weapon spirit were what Ling Xiao wanted the most. Perhaps he could find the origin of the wordless heavenly book and the whereabouts of the scarlet dragon war god from the memories of the artifact spirit. From today onwards, my name is Zhang Chotian. I will rule this world and destroy all my enemies. From the artifact spirit's memories, Ling Xiao saw a young man named Zhang Zhe with an extremely tragic background. When he was very young, his entire family was wiped out by his enemies. Fortunately, he was rescued by a loyal servant. It was raining cats and dogs, lightning flashed. Zhang Zhe changed his name to Zhang Chotian and entered the Chou clan's sect. Along the way, he hid his identity and began to cultivate. Finally, he rose from an outer disciple to a true disciple. In the end, Zhang Chotian was accepted as the last disciple of the sect leader and betrothed his own daughter to him. On the night of the wedding, Zhang Chotian killed the sect leader's daughter and stabbed the sect leader's heart with his own sword. Because, the sect leader was his enemy. In Zhang Chotian's memories, there was still that flower-like smile, but the final scene was filled with disbelief and despair. After this, Zhang Chotian dominated the world and became a giant of the demonic path, the leader of the demonic path, Ancestor Chotian. 1,000,000 years ago, the sky demons invaded the war god Great World. Zhang Chotian had already broken through the barrier between man and God. When he was about to ascend to the god world, his body was destroyed by the sky demons, and his primordial spirit was also scattered. He was seriously injured and on the verge of death. Later, the Scarlet Dragon War God appeared and saved Zhang Chotian. Although there was no way to bring him back to life, he used a supreme secret technique to refine Zhang Chotian's primordial spirit into the divine blade of judgment, becoming the weapon spirit of the divine blade of judgment. From then on, although Zhang Chotian lost his freedom, he was immortal as a weapon spirit. He followed the Scarlet Dragon war god and dominated the world, killing billions of sky demons. However, that calamity was too tragic. The battle caused the heaven to fall and the earth to rend. Even the divine blade of judgment was broken into pieces and fell into the depths of the earth, being sealed for countless years. It wasn't until a few decades ago when the Southern Celestial Venerable cut open the ancient stone and obtained the divine blade of judgment that Zhang Chotian was able to see the light of day again. Zhang Chotian followed the Scarlet Dragon war god and knew that the most mysterious and precious treasure in his possession was the wordless heavenly scripture. It contained 108 secret techniques that could create heaven and earth. It was extremely powerful. However, when the Scarlet Dragon war god obtained it, the wordless heavenly book's secret techniques were incomplete. The Scarlet Dragon war god only practiced 33 supreme secret techniques and fused them together to create the 33 days of creation divine art, which had the power to slaughter gods and exterminate devils. Moreover, Zhang Chotian learned from the Scarlet Dragon war god that he had no way to make the wordless heavenly scripture recognize him as its master. If he could make the wordless heavenly scripture recognize him as its master, he would have the power to bring the dead back to life and even change heaven and earth. Therefore, when the Southern Celestial Venerable saw Ling Xiao, Zhang Chotian felt the aura of the wordless heavenly scripture from him. That was why he wanted the wordless heavenly scripture. The Scarlet Dragon war god isn't from the war god continent? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. From Zhang Chotian's memories, he could see that Zhang Chotian was the strongest person under the heavens a million years ago. As for Scarlet Dragon war god, he had only appeared in the war god Great World during the Great Calamity. Although the Scarlet Dragon war god didn't say it, Zhang Chotian suspected that the Scarlet Dragon war god was a supreme god that descended from the eternal god world. The wordless heavenly scripture should also be a supreme treasure of the god world. But what made Ling Xiao a little regretful was that Zhang Chotian had just burned his primordial spirit and destroyed some of his most important memories, causing his memories to become somewhat incomplete. Thus, even after absorbing Zhang Chotian's memories, the origin of the Scarlet Dragon war god was still a blur. No wonder the Southern Celestial Venerable could display such terrifying power with a broken blade. It was the Scarlet Dragon war god's saber of judgment. The divine saber of judgment was a true supreme divine weapon. Even if it was broken and its power was greatly reduced, it still had the power to threaten supremes. The peerless divine saber and Zhang Chotian, a demon stained with the blood of billions of people, forged a peerless vicious saber. Ling Xiao also saw from Zhang Chotian's memories that the Scarlet Dragon war god seemed to have a daughter. The Scarlet Dragon war god once said that he had sealed her, so perhaps she was still alive. The Scarlet Dragon war god's daughter? Ling Xiao muttered in his heart. He felt a familiar feeling in his heart. After absorbing all of Zhang Chotian's memories, Ling Xiao obtained many ancient secrets, including the Scarlet Cloud God brocade in his hand. The Scarlet Cloud God brocade was a treasure of heaven and earth. Legend said that it contained the origin of heaven and earth. It was left behind by an ancient god in the war god continent. It was said that as long as one obtained the Scarlet Cloud God brocade, they would be able to obtain the inheritance left behind by that god. Since ancient times, the Scarlet Cloud God brocade had appeared countless times, but no one had been able to obtain the so-called inheritance of the god. Could it be that the Scarlet Cloud God brocade points to the god burial cave? Ling Xiao pondered slightly. In Zhang Chotian's memories, the origin of the god burial cave was very mysterious. It had already existed millions of years ago. Chapter 563. Outside of Chaos City, there were mountains and forests. They were ancient and majestic, emitting a deathly aura. The vegetation was sparse and the sky was dark. The land was shrouded in a faint layer of heaven burial chi, looking desolate and dilapidated. The further southeast they flew, the denser the heaven burial chi became. It even felt like it was going to surge into their bodies. The heaven-burying chi contained a mysterious heaven-burying law. Dead creatures in the heaven-burying chi would easily turn into zombies without any intelligence. Even living creatures would be assimilated if they stayed here for a long time. The God Burial Cave was a paradise for many ghost and demonic cultivators, especially the Emperor Tomb Mountain. 10,000 years ago, Ling Xiao knew that the underworld Rising Dragon Formation and the Soul Morning Nail were obtained from the God Burial Cave. The Emperor Tomb Mountain mainly nurtured and refined corpses. The zombies were divided into iron corpses, bronze corpses, silver corpses, gold corpses, jade corpses, and sky corpses. The weakest iron corpse was comparable to a powerhouse below the dragon-tiger realm. Bronze corpses were more powerful and could fight against celestial realm powerhouses. Silver corpses, gold corpses, jade corpses, and sky corpses corresponded to noble, emperor, half-step supreme, and supreme respectively. In his previous life, Ling Xiao had seen the Emperor Tomb Mountain send out 3 sky corpses. They were ferocious and even ordinary supreme couldn't match up to them. Legend had it that the sky corpses of the Emperor Tomb Mountain were refined from the remains of the gods in the God Burial Cave. They were immortal and powerful. The distance of 1,000 miles was quickly covered by Ling Xiao and the other 3 flying at top speed. A faint black mist spread in front of them. The heaven burial chi was extremely dense. Luoluo didn't have any cultivation, so Ling Xiao placed her in the divine stone. The old goat had obtained so many tree cores of the illusory demonic ancient tree. He wanted to take this opportunity to go into seclusion in the divine stone to recover his Dao injuries in one go. Ling Xiao, the path ahead is indeed blocked. Taoist Wuliang's eyes flashed as he felt the aura of a martial artist in front of them. They blocked the path and emitted a faint murderous aura, preventing others from passing. Twin mountains should be in front. Let's go around it. I want to see what the Ghost King sect is up to. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. Gemini Mountain disappeared and turned into a divine cave. Ling Xiao was already very unhappy in his heart, but this place was actually sealed by the Ghost King sect, which made him even angrier. After passing through a mountain range, a huge crater appeared on the vast land. The entrance of the crater was several thousand miles wide, and it was gushing with black heaven burial chi. It was shrouded in a mysterious light, and there was a terrifying aura that made people's minds tremble. That was the divine cave, the place where the twin mountains used to be. Around the divine cave, there were many martial artists wearing black robes with skeletons embroidered on them. Their eyes were cold and sharp as they vigilantly looked around. Strange, the Scarlet Cloud Divine Brocade is a treasure from 1,000,000 years ago. It has a map of God Burial Cave recorded on it. Why is there a record of this God Burial Cave? Could it be that Gemini Mountain was a divine cave 1,000,000 years ago? A trace of doubt appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. According to the records of the Scarlet Cloud Divine Brocade, there was a god's corpse in this God Burial Cave. However, Ling Xiao could see that the God Burial Chi gushed out of the God Burial Cave, connecting heaven and earth, emitting an incomparably terrifying aura. The power of laws was very chaotic, and there were many dangers inside. If one was careless, they would probably die inside. Ling Xiao, you're not really planning to enter the God Burial Cave to explore, right? I feel that this God Burial Cave is not simple. It's filled with danger. Daoist Wuliang glanced at Ling Xiao with a solemn expression. That's right. If I don't take a look, I won't be satisfied. Perhaps, Jin Sei is in the God Burial Cave. A trace of determination appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. Ling Xiao, look, are those people from Emperor Tomb Mountain? Daoist Wuliang's eyes flashed as he saw a dignified young man standing outside the God Burial Cave in the distance. There were 2 old men emitting death chi. They were all wearing black robes with a strange tomb embroidered with golden thread. Each of them emitted an incomparably terrifying aura. The young man in the lead had already condensed his Dharma Laksana and become an expert of the imperial path. The 2 old men were also half a step away from becoming honorable martial artists. The middle-aged man in the lead of the Ghost King sect had a respectful expression and was saying something. They are indeed from Emperor Tomb Mountain. Speaking of which, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he thought of the 9th holy son that he had killed in the 8th Desolation region. The young man in front of him had an extraordinary appearance. Could he also be a holy son from Emperor Tomb Mountain? Moreover, Ling Zhao also saw that there were dozens of noble realm martial artists guarding the Ghost King sect. Each of them looked flustered, and their eyes were filled with despair and fear. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Why did the Ghost King sect capture these people? Who are you? Get over here. Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang didn't deliberately conceal their auras, but they had suppressed their cultivation. They were only at the first level of the noble realm, so they were instantly discovered by the Ghost King sect. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat, and he gave Taoist Wuliang a look. Immediately, the two of them pretended to be trembling with fear as they walked over. We are martial artists who came here to train. We didn't expect to disturb all of you. Please don't blame us. We will leave now. Ling Zhao said with a horrified expression. He quickly glanced at the people of the Ghost King sect and Emperor Tomb Mountain, and he immediately understood. The Ghost King sect also had a half-step honorable martial artist, but it seemed that he hadn't even passed the tribulation of one elephant. The sinister-looking middle-aged man in front of him should be the sect master of the Ghost King sect, but his cultivation was only at the 9th level of the noble realm. Other than that, the rest were some experts of the Ghost King sect. They seemed to be only at the noble realm and weren't worth mentioning. With Ling Zhao's current cultivation, although he couldn't completely kill the 3 half-step honorable martial artists, it was still possible for him to escape unscathed. However, the young man from Emperor Tomb Mountain and the 2 half-step honorable martial artists gave Ling Zhao a faint sense of danger, and he couldn't help but be tempted. Are you here to train? The sect master of the Ghost King sect sized up Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang indifferently. He found that they were indeed only at the first level of the noble realm, and their auras were very ordinary. He sneered and said, since you are here to train, then don't leave. I'll give you a chance. Follow us into the divine cave later. If you can obtain a supreme divine treasure, then it will be a great opportunity for you. Do you understand? The sect master of the Ghost King sect's eyes flickered. He looked at Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang as if he would kill them on the spot if they refused. Thank you, sir. We are willing to follow you into the divine cave. Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang both gave a wry smile and agreed. All right, you can wait over there. Chapter 564. Saint, there are about 100 people in this batch of cannon fodder. It should be enough, right? The Ghost King sect's sect master looked at the young man from Emperor Tomb Mountain respectfully. It should be enough. The young man from Emperor Tomb Mountain nodded indifferently and said coldly, watch them well. Don't let them know what they shouldn't know. This time, we can only succeed, we can't fail. Don't worry, Saint. The passage to that place has been opened. This time, we will definitely be able to reach there. The Ghost King sect's sect master smiled flatteringly. Very good. If you can help this saint complete the mission this time, this saint will allow you to return to the sect. At that time, it won't be a problem for you to be promoted to an elder. The saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain smiled indifferently. Thank you, Saint. Thank you. The Ghost King sect's sect master was overjoyed. He had spent so much effort, and even many of the Ghost King sect's powerhouses had died. Wasn't it all for the sake of returning to the sect? Who would be willing to stay in a godforsaken place like Chaos City? Alright, let's go. The saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain said indifferently. His gaze fell on the divine cave, and a faint beam of light shot out. A trace of excitement flashed across his eyes. If he could succeed this time, he would definitely be able to suppress the other saints in one fell swoop. The position of the future Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain would belong to him. Daoist Wuliang glanced at the Ghost King sect master and the saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain in the distance and said slowly, Ling Xiao, these guys are sneaky. They captured so many people. I'm afraid they don't have good intentions. Ling Xiao smiled indifferently and said, I know. They captured us to scout the way and use us as cannon fodder. However, looking at the Ghost King sect and Emperor Tomb Mountain's attitude, they should have already explored the Divine Cave. Perhaps they know what's in the Divine Cave. Let's wait and see. Let's go down with them first. I'm afraid it's still not certain who's the cannon fodder. Hee, you're right. These guys dare to have designs on me. When the time comes, I'll definitely teach them a lesson. Daoist Wuliang grinned and said. As for those who had been captured by the Ghost King sect, when they saw Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang, their eyes were filled with schadenfreude. Obviously, the arrival of 2 more cannon fodder made their mood much better. Anyway, even if they died, there were so many people to accompany them. Alright, let's enter the Divine Cave. The master of the Ghost King sect glanced at the crowd and said slowly, follow the Ghost King sect. If we get a supreme divine treasure, you will definitely have a share. But before that, you have to do something. 50 of you will scout ahead and 50 of you will guard the back. Do you have any objections? The Ghost King clan lord's gaze was very cold. None of the captured people dared to look him in the eye. They all lowered their heads and fell silent. Very well, since you have no objections, let's go. The Ghost King sect leader nodded in satisfaction. Next, under the command of the Ghost King sect, Ling Xiao and Daoist Wuliang were assigned to the front of the group to scout the path. There were also 50 people guarding the back of the group, surrounding the Ghost King sect master, the saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain, and the others. Although everyone knew that they were all cannon fodder, no one dared to object. After all, the strongest person captured by the Ghost King sect was only at the 9th level of the noble realm, while the Ghost King sect and the Emperor Tomb Mountain had 3 half-supremes. Those who opposed before were already dead. The heaven-burying aura filled the air as the group slowly walked into the Divine Cave. Although the Divine Cave was huge, it was not steep. They could walk along the mountain wall and go deeper bit by bit. Rumble. The heaven-burying aura became denser and denser, and there was also a chaotic power of law in the air. A mysterious light shot out from the ground, like an Archean ferocious beast, opening its mouth towards the group. Although the 50 people in front were extremely frightened, they could only brace themselves and walk forward. Just like that, after going 1,000 feet in, the heaven-burying aura around them became denser and denser, turning into a faint black fog that enveloped the group. The surroundings were extremely quiet. There was no sound, and there was no danger. The group heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, Ling Xiao felt a sense of danger. Without thinking, he pulled Daoist Wuliang and moved a dozen steps to the left. Crack! A black divine light flashed, and in an instant, more than 10 martial artists cried out in pain and were swallowed up in an instant, disappearing without a trace. A crack in the void? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The crack in the void did not make any sound, and Ling Xiao was almost hit. The remaining martial artists were also scared out of their wits. Their eyes were filled with incomparable terror. What are you panicking for? Let's go quickly, and be careful. The Ghost King sect leader looked pained. He was pained because they had only gone 1,000 feet in, and they had already lost more than 10 martial artists. It seemed that this time, it was more difficult than he had imagined. The group continued on their way, trembling with fear. Not long after, something strange happened again. Crack! A black lightning bolt shot out from the mountain wall, containing a mysterious power, and pierced through the glabella of a martial artist. Hee, the martial artist made a strange sound from his throat, and his eyes instantly bulged out. His entire body was enveloped by a layer of black light, and then he suddenly bit the martial artist beside him. Ah! You're crazy! Get lost! The martial artist was at the 3rd level of the noble realm, and he was so frightened that he screamed. He used a great magical power and slammed it hard on the martial artist who bit him. However, the martial artist did not react at all, and continued to bite at him. Oh no, it's the sky-burying divine light. He has become a zombie. The Ghost King sect leader's eyes flashed, and he immediately slammed his palm out. Black flames spread out, and instantly enveloped the martial artist who bit him. Sizzle. The flames burned fiercely, and it spread toward the other martial artist who was bitten. A heart-shaking scream pierced through the flames, and soon, the two martial artists were turned into ashes. Buzz! At that moment, the surrounding mountain walls seemed to light up, and mysterious runes flashed on them, and they were slowly absorbing the sky-burying divine light. The sky-burying divine light in this area is about to be activated. Let's go! The Saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain's gaze turned serious. He waved his sleeve, and suddenly, a bright light blasted toward the mountain walls. At the same time, the group was so frightened that they ran for their lives, and they hated that they did not have an extra pair of legs. The Saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain could only stop them for a moment. The two martial artists at the end of the group could not dodge in time, and they were shot by the sky-burying divine light, and instantly turned into zombies. Roar! The aura of the two martial artists changed drastically, and they became ferocious and deadly. Their faces were ferocious, and with a low roar, they pounced toward the group. Boom! Chapter 565. I'm not leaving. I want to go home. I want to go home. The warriors were so scared that they pissed their pants. They could no longer move. The divine cave was too terrifying. They roared and wanted to return the way they came. You're courting death. The Ghost King sect master's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. He directly used a thunderous method to kill the warriors who wanted to escape. Obediently explore the way, and you might have a chance to live. Otherwise, I'll kill all of you right now. The Ghost King sect master's face was ferocious, and the killing intent in his eyes was incomparably blazing. After killing a few warriors in a row, the remaining warriors were immediately frightened. Their faces were filled with incomparable despair. However, no one dared to escape. They could only obediently explore the way. Saint, something's not right. We haven't even reached the depths of the divine cave, and we've already lost so many people. This time, it's much more dangerous. The Ghost King sect master looked worriedly at the Saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain. Sky-burying divine light. It should be the effect of the blood sacrifice that we left behind. It seems like that place will soon be broken through. Let's speed up. The Saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain's eyes revealed an incomparably excited expression. Blood sacrifice? That's possible. The Ghost King sect master's eyes also lit up. He immediately continued to urge everyone to go deeper. Ling Xiao and Daoist Wuyang stood in the middle of the crowd, carefully observing the situation in the divine cave. Ling Xiao discovered that in the divine cave, the laws of heaven and earth were completely suppressed by the sky-burying qi. In this place, the sky-burying qi was the ruler of all the laws of heaven and earth. Even a half-step supreme being would be suppressed by 90% here, unable to mobilize the laws of heaven and earth. Unless one could comprehend the origin of the sky-burying qi, otherwise, there was no way to use powerful divine abilities. As for the sky-burying divine light, Ling Xiao faintly felt a mysterious power of laws. What surprised Ling Xiao even more was that the wordless heavenly book also liked to devour the sky-burying qi. This feeling. It's like the laws of another world. Ling Xiao pondered for a moment. At the same time, he thought about the legends of the divine cave. In the legends, the divine spirit had comprehended the origin of heaven and earth and was immortal. If there was really a divine spirit buried here, then the divine Tao laws of that divine spirit should have rejected the power of heaven and earth. However, Ling Xiao's physical body was not suppressed. In the godly cavern, Ling Xiao could easily crush a half-martial highness with his flesh alone. Ling Xiao, I have a feeling that there might really be the remains of a god in the divine cavern. Taoist Wu Yang's voice was filled with excitement as he transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. A god slew. Ling Xiao's heart stirred, already able to guess the reason why Emperor Tomb Mountain appeared here. If there really was a god slew, then with the secret technique of the Emperor Tomb Mountain, it could be refined into a supreme heavenly corpse. Moreover, the interior of the god burial cave was too terrifying. Even supremes didn't dare to enter. On the other hand, the god burial cave on the Gemini Mountain was located at the periphery of the god burial cave. The danger was very low. No wonder a holy son of the Emperor Tomb Mountain appeared here. It turned out that they were after the god's molt. Those heaven-burying divine lights should be formed after divine Tao laws and heaven-burying chi fused together. They're capable of instantly transforming living beings into zombies, and they're incomparably terrifying. The little bastard from the Emperor Tomb Mountain wants the slew of a deity? Isn't he afraid that his appetite is too big and he will be stuffed to death? Taoist Wu Yang chuckled. The slew of a god contained endless secrets and dangers. Even supreme experts could fall. The saint child of the Emperor Tomb Mountain was indeed very daring. Let's be careful. Let's see if it's a god's molt first. Moreover, our main goal this time is to find clues about Jin Se. Ling Xiao said slowly. He faintly felt that if there really was a god's molt in the god burial cave, it might have something to do with Jin Se. All right. Taoist Wu Yang replied. After so many martial artists died, everyone became extremely cautious. Even so, the god burial cave was filled with danger, and many people still died. After a few hours, the group had already gone deep into the god burial cave. More than half of the 100 people who were cannon fodder had died. Only a dozen people were left. Among these dozen people, other than Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang who were in the first level of the noble realm, the rest were all in the 9th level of the noble realm. They had cultivated many powerful superpowers. As a result, Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang stood out a little. Even the Ghost King sect leader and the holy son of the Emperor Tomb Mountain noticed the two of them. The two of you, walk at the front. The Ghost King sect leader said coldly as he pointed at Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang. Why should I? Ling Xiao pretended to be indignant and said. Hee, why should I? Because I'm stronger than you. If you don't want to, I don't mind killing you right now. The Ghost King sect leader said coldly. His eyes were filled with indifference. Ow. All right. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang both agreed dejectedly and stood at the front of the group. The ground was filled with hard rocks and it was dark all around. Even with the power of the primordial spirit, they could only sense a few feet around them. The suppression of the heaven burial chi had reached its limit. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang walked forward slowly. They encountered a few more void cracks and terrifying dangers, but they avoided all of them. Holy Son, you're really smart. There's something wrong with these two, the Ghost King sect leader said coldly. They're only at the first level of the noble realm, but they managed to avoid fatal dangers time and time again. If they're not hiding their cultivation, then they must have a big secret. Don't bother about them for now. When they're no longer of any value, I'll kill them myself. The holy son of Emperor Tomb Mountain said with a faint smile. Ling Xiao, I think they're already suspicious of us. Taoist Wu Yang said to Ling Xiao. So what if they're suspicious? We're just following them to see what they're planning. If they don't know how to appreciate our kindness, then we'll kill them all. Ling Xiao said with a cold smile. It wasn't like he hadn't killed the holy son of Emperor Tomb Mountain before. Buzz. At that moment, a faint buzzing sound came from the front. A beam of light appeared in front of everyone. We're finally here. Everyone, hurry up. The Ghost King sect leader was pleasantly surprised and hurriedly urged them to hurry up. Everyone sped up, and the beam of light became brighter and brighter. When they got closer, they realized that it was a cave. There were mysterious runes flickering at the entrance of the cave, emitting an endless wave of energy. This is, Ling Xiao's body trembled, and a huge wave of emotions surged in his heart. At the entrance of the cave, there were runes everywhere. There was also a mysterious sword chi and purple lightning. It was a large formation. The longevity sword chi and purple lightning. Chapter 566. And at this moment, Ling Xiao could see through the cave that there seemed to be a huge coffin inside, emitting a mysterious light. Longevity God Sealing Array. Ling Xiao, this is the Longevity God Sealing Array, this should have been left behind by Jin Se. Daoist Wuliang also became excited. That's right, it was left behind by Jin Se. Ling Xiao took a deep breath, his eyes revealing a trace of a cold look. He could tell that the great array of longevity and God seal had been broken. It must have been broken by some powerful primordial treasure. Without thinking, Ling Xiao also knew that this was the work of Emperor Tomb Mountain. Let's go. The saint son of Emperor Tomb Mountain took the lead, his eyes filled with incomparable excitement, directly leading everyone into the cave. Inside the cave was a huge underground space, it was very vast, chaotic fog was dense, it looked incomparably auspicious. But there was a thick smell of blood permeating the air. In front of everyone, there was a huge black stone coffin floating in the void, surrounded by chaotic gas, emitting an endless wave of vitality. The stone coffin looked mysterious and ancient, there were profound runes carved on it, there was a bright light pervading the air, as if it was about to break through the sky and ascend. And below the stone coffin, there was a huge blood pool, it was in the shape of a six-pointed star, 6 blood lights rushed into the sky, entangling with the stone coffin, it was breaking the seal on the stone coffin. And the seal on the stone coffin had already loosened, the coffin lid revealing a crack, specks of light permeating out from within, there was a mysterious and vast divine Tao law, it made one involuntarily tremble, as if they wanted to kneel down and worship. Ling Xiao's eyes instantly turned blood red. How could he not see through it? The huge blood pool below was entangled by vengeful spirits, resentment rising, at least tens of thousands of people died here, and all of them were powerful martial artists, the terrifying blood chi corroding the stone coffin's seal bit by bit. The aura emitted from this stone coffin was clearly the power of the Longevity Supreme Scripture. Could it be, the so-called God Spirit slew in the stone coffin is Jin Se? Ling Xiao's heart trembled, he already did not dare to think about it, his eyes suddenly revealing monstrous killing intent. Ha ha ha, this indestructible blood river array is indeed powerful, it actually really corroded the stone coffin seal. The saint of Emperor Tomb Mountain laughed heartily, his eyes revealing an extremely excited expression. Congratulations, Saint Son. This god's slough must have been preserved in perfect condition. As long as the saint obtains this god's remains, it will only be a matter of time before he unifies the world and becomes a supreme being. The Ghost King sect master's face was full of flattery as he quickly said with a smile. Good, very good. Fu Jian, you did well. After this saint obtains the god's slough, follow me back to the Emperor Tomb Mountain. At that time, I will bestow you with a supreme pill to help you break through to the half-step supreme stage. You will be the great elder of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. The Holy Sun patted the Ghost King sect master's shoulder with satisfaction. Thank you, Holy Sun. What about these people? The Ghost King sect leader was overjoyed. He then looked at Ling Xiao and the others. The seal of the sarcophagus has not been completely corroded yet. Let them do their last bit. Throw them into the blood pool. The saint of the Emperor Tomb Mountain said indifferently. Yes. The Ghost King sect master nodded. He turned around and looked at the crowd with a sinister smile. Fu Jian, you went back on your words. You will die a horrible death. Sect Master Fu, let us go. We don't want anything. We just want to live. We are willing to join the Ghost King sect. Sect Master, please spare our lives. Everyone turned pale with fright. Their eyes were filled with incomparable despair. Some cursed loudly, while others immediately knelt down and begged for mercy. Hee hee, it's your fortune to be able to help the Holy Sun. Throw them in. the Ghost King sect master said coldly. Immediately, the Ghost King sect's half-step supreme being behind him struck out with his palm. The vast palm wind spread out and swept everyone into the blood pool in an instant. Blood-colored vines that looked like arms stretched out from the blood pool and instantly swept them up. With a scream, they directly melted into the blood pool, not even their bones were left. However, what surprised the Ghost King sect master was that Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang were not swept into the blood pool. They were still standing there. Especially Ling Xiao. His gaze was bone-chilling and contained a monstrous killing intent. The Ghost King sect master could not help but tremble. There is indeed something wrong with the two of you. The Ghost King sect master's eyes flashed with killing intent as he stared at Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang. I only have one question for you. If you answer honestly, I can give you a quick death. Ling Xiao looked indifferently at the Ghost King sect master and the holy son of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. The killing intent in his voice was like a volcano that was about to erupt. How did you find this place? The Ghost King sect master was stunned. Then, he laughed out loud. Kid, are you scared out of your wits? You are just ants in the noble realm. Even if you have some tricks up your sleeve, you don't have the right to be arrogant. Fu Jian, why are you wasting your breath on them? Kill them. The holy son of the Emperor Tomb Mountain's eyes flashed. For some reason, when he saw Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang's expressions, he panicked for no reason. It was as if a great disaster was about to befall them. Yes. Kid, when you are dead, I will tell you. The Ghost King sect leader sneered and threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Boom. Ling Xiao suddenly raised his head. His eyes were extremely red. The monstrous killing intent in his heart exploded as he punched out as well. Golden divine light exploded. Ling Xiao seemed to have turned into a true dragon that swept across the heavens and earth. His blood chi was monstrous. With a muffled sound, the Ghost King sect master's arm exploded into a bloody mist. He also let out a blood-curdling scream. What? The holy son of the Emperor Tomb Mountain and the others were all shocked. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Crack. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold and indifferent. After smashing the Ghost King sect master's arm with one punch, he did not stop and punched out again. Boom. The heavens and earth trembled. A sense of death loomed over their hearts. The Ghost King sect master trembled all over and hurriedly activated his Dharma form. A heavenly ghost Dharma form with 2 horns on its head and black scales all over its body charged over. He was already scared out of his wits by Ling Xiao. He did not hope that the heavenly ghost Dharma form could kill Ling Xiao. He only hoped that it could block Ling Xiao for a moment so that he could escape. However, this place was originally suppressed by the heaven burial chi. His heavenly ghost Dharma form was extremely weak. How could it block Ling Xiao's unparalleled combat body? Boom! The heavenly ghost Dharma form instantly shattered and exploded. Ling Xiao's punch did not lose its momentum and directly landed on the Ghost King sect master's chest. A violent force exploded, and a bloody mist filled the void. Chapter 567. The primordial spirit of the Ghost King sect master was instantly devoured by the sky-devouring golden lotus. Ling Xiao's killing intent surged. The power of the wordless heavenly book and the sky-devouring golden lotus exploded, instantly erasing the imprint in the primordial spirit of the Ghost King sect master. He also found the information he wanted. It turned out that a half-step supreme being from the Ghost King sect accidentally discovered the longevity god seal array in the Divine Cave when he was exploring the Divine Cave. He also found out that there might be the remains of a god inside. The Ghost King sect master and the others were originally disciples of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. However, they were expelled from the sect because they made a mistake, so they ended up in Chaos City and founded the Ghost King sect. The backer of the Ghost King sect master and the others in the Emperor Tomb Mountain was the grandfather of the 6th Holy Son, who was also a supreme elder. Therefore, After they informed the Emperor Tomb Mountain, the sixth Holy Sun brought the two half-step Supreme Beings to Chaos City and sealed the surroundings of the Divine Cave. He also used a supreme treasure to break the Longevity God Seal array. However, the seal on the stone coffin was too strong, so the sixth Holy Sun thought of using the Eternal Blood River formation to secretly kill over 10,000 Supreme Beings. He used their essence, blood and primordial spirits to set up the formation. After 81 days, he finally managed to erase some of the seal on the stone coffin. "You're courting death." The sixth Holy Sun was instantly enraged, and his eyes revealed a trace of cold killing intent. He was shocked and furious. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to kill the Ghost King sect's sect master with 2 punches. There was only one explanation: Ling Xiao was hiding his cultivation. "Kill him." Following the sixth Holy Sun's order, the 3 half-step Supreme Beings pounced on Ling Xiao at the same time, exuding a terrifying aura. "Kill!" Ling Xiao's eyes were incomparably cold. He erupted with unparalleled physical strength, and the surrounding aura of a dragon filled the air. His chi and blood surged as he punched out. Crack! Golden lightning flashed like a real dragon striking the sky. Ling Xiao's punch landed on the Ghost King sect's half-step Supreme Being, forcing him to retreat. At the same time, Ling Xiao leaped up and used a secret teleportation technique. His legs were like divine whips as he struck the 2 half-step Supreme Beings from the Emperor Tomb Mountain. They both retreated at the same time. An elephant's tribulation. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could sense that the 2 half-supremes on the Emperor Tomb Mountain had already passed the Earth tribulation. Their physical strength was extremely strong. Although they were not as strong as Ling Xiao, they were far stronger than ordinary emperors. This place suppresses the laws of heaven and earth, weakening the power of divine abilities. Let's attack together and kill him. The 3 half-step Supreme Beings exchanged glances with each other, their eyes revealing a hint of seriousness. They did not expect Ling Xiao's physical strength to be so terrifying. They immediately decided to attack together to kill Ling Xiao. "Hee, a bunch of shameless old things. Let me teach you how to behave." Taoist Wu Yang sneered. The horsetail whisk in his hand emitted a mysterious light. 3,000 threads soared into the sky and swept towards a half-supreme on the Emperor Tomb Mountain. "You're courting death." The half-step Exalt's gaze turned cold. Taoist Wu Yang was merely at the 9th level of the monarch realm, yet Taoist Wu Yang had actually obstructed him. In an instant, killing intent erupted from his body as a black ancient sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed it towards Taoist Wu Yang. Boom! The sword radiance was torrential. It contained a sharp sword chi that could pierce through everything. It instantly enveloped Taoist Wu Yang. Taoist Wu Yang's expression was indifferent. His eyes flickered. Every strand of the horsetail whisk in his hand was crystal clear like a divine chain. It shattered the sword chi and turned into a large intertwined net that enveloped the half-step Exalt on the Emperor Tomb Mountain. Just as Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang were fighting the 3 half-supremes, the blood pool underwent another change. The power of the blood pool was already very terrifying. The indestructible blood pool formation emitted a powerful corrosive force that constantly eroded the seal on the stone coffin. After devouring dozens of cultivators, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. The stone coffin's lid instantly shone brightly, and the runes on it shattered. God slew. The sixth saint's eyes revealed a trace of incomparable excitement. He instantly flew towards the stone coffin. Buzz! A black shroud appeared in the sixth saint's hand. It exuded a mysterious aura and instantly shrouded the stone coffin. This shroud was the key to refining zombies on the Emperor Tomb Mountain. It was said that it was stained with the blood of the god and was incomparably powerful. It was a supreme treasure of the Emperor Tomb Mountain. The sixth saint brought it here to subdue the god slew. You're courting death. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed fiercely. Suddenly, the most terrifying power erupted. The violent dragon's super ability was completely activated. He sent the half-step Exalt of the Ghost King sect flying with a punch. At the same time, he threw out hundreds of punches, causing the half-step exalt of the Emperor Tomb Mountain to cough up blood and retreat. Chi! The sky-devouring sword emitted a dazzling radiance. It turned into an unparalleled sword Chi and slashed towards the sixth saint. How is this possible? The sixth saint's face changed drastically. The terrifying sword Chi made him feel a fatal danger. Without thinking, he used the shroud to block the sky-devouring sword. Crack! On the shroud, black runes exploded. It was mysterious and unfathomable. The sky-devouring sword's unparalleled sword Chi was directly devoured by the shroud. Rumble! At this moment, the sarcophagus in front of everyone suddenly began to tremble. The lid of the sarcophagus emitted a dazzling radiance as if it was about to float. A mysterious aura erupted from the sarcophagus. What? The sixth saint and Ling Xiao's expression changed abruptly. Within the sarcophagus, a vast and eternal mysterious power that surpassed the laws of heaven and earth had awakened. Qi. It was a white sword Qi. No one could describe the style of that sword Qi. The vast sword Qi traversed the void like the Milky Way, emitting a dazzling divine radiance. In an instant, it split into millions of sword Qi and slashed towards the sixth saint and the three half-step exalts. Rumble! That sword Qi was too terrifying. It was as if a supremacy had descended, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. The void began to shatter as boundless turbulence wreaked havoc. At the critical moment, the shroud turned into a stream of light and instantly wrapped around the sixth saint. Those sword Qi slashed on the shroud, causing a dazzling radiance to erupt. However, the shroud was indeed very powerful. It was an incomparably powerful unique treasure. In the end, it still managed to block that terrifying sword Qi. However, the three half-step exalts were not so lucky. Although they also had incomparably powerful defensive Dao artifacts, they were unable to block the sword Qi at all. Puff! 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 Blood spurted out from the glabella of the three half-step exalts. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. In an instant, their primordial spirits were destroyed by the sword Qi. Their bodies turned into ashes, completely dead. What a terrifying sword Qi! Is this the longevity sword Qi? Daoist Wuliang's eyes revealed a trace of incomparable amazement. At the same time, he spoke with some excitement. That's right. It's the longevity sword Qi. Ling Xiao's body was also trembling. His eyes were filled with incomparable anticipation as he stared at the sarcophagus. Brat, you spoiled my plans. I will not rest until you are dead. This saint has already remembered you. There is no place for you in the entire War God continent. The sixth saint glared at Ling Xiao with resentment. However, he was truly afraid. The inexplicable existence in the sarcophagus had actually unleashed such a terrifying sword Qi. Even if he had a supreme treasure like the shroud, he wasn't sure if he could really be safe. Whoosh! He was also very decisive. He was wrapped up by the shroud, turned into a stream of light, and shot out of the divine cave in an instant. Ling Xiao didn't have the time to stop him. After all, the shroud was comparable to a complete supremacy artifact. Ling Xiao had no way to completely trap him. More importantly, Ling Xiao stared at the sarcophagus with incomparable excitement. The person that he had yearned for countless years might really appear. Chapter 568. Weng. The sarcophagus trembled and the runes shone brightly. The lid of the sarcophagus slowly opened and a bright light shot out. Ling Xiao looked inside the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus was empty. Unlike what Ling Xiao had imagined, Jin Se was not lying inside. However, there was a small poem engraved inside the sarcophagus. It emitted a bright light and slowly floated up from the sarcophagus. The Jin Se has 50 strings without cause, and each string represents a year. Zhuang Xingxiao dreams of butterflies, gazing at the emperor's love with a cuckoo. The moon shines tears in the vast sea, the sun shines on the blue sky. Can this feeling become a memory? But I was already at a loss. Each of the 56 words was like a divine sword. They intertwined with each other and grew endlessly. They were vast and mysterious and contained a mysterious power that could destroy everything. The longevity sword chi. It turned out that the longevity sword chi was emitted by this poem. Ling Xiao looked at the poem and was a little dazed. He still remembered the painting and the poem he saw in the scripture pavilion when he was reborn in the 8 Desolates region. Light flashed in Ling Xiao's hand and an ancient painting appeared. On the ancient painting was a white-robed Ling Xiao with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked like he was supreme. The ancient painting also had Jin Sei's poem on it. The moment the ancient painting appeared, the 56 ancient words floating in the void trembled slightly and instantly turned into a bright stream of light that fused with the ancient painting. The originally ordinary ancient painting began to emit a vast and mysterious aura. It was majestic and the longevity sword chi seemed like it would shoot out at any time. Can this feeling become a memory? But I was already at a loss. Jin Sei, I know you're not dead. But where are you? Ling Xiao muttered to himself, tears glistening in his eyes. What he was most afraid of was to open the sarcophagus and see Jin Sei lying inside. Now, there was only Jin Sei's poem in the sarcophagus. Ling Xiao breathed a sigh of relief. Moreover, this poem contained too many meanings. Perhaps others would not be able to understand the meaning of this poem. Only Ling Xiao could. The longevity sword energy grew and multiplied without end, containing divine Tao laws within it. This level and aura had already surpassed Jin Sei when she was at her peak. Thus, Ling Xiao had no doubts that Jin Sei had truly stepped onto the path of the divine Tao. Gods were immortal, so what was a mere 10,000 years to them? However, what made Ling Xiao even more disappointed was that although he had found the information left behind by Jin Sei, he still didn't know where she was. Ling Xiao, judging from the degree of condensation of divine Tao laws, Jin Sei definitely isn't dead. Could it be that he has already broken through the limits of this realm and ascended to the God realm? Taoist Wu Yang glanced at Ling Xiao and said softly. No, Jin Sei must still be in this realm. Ling Xiao said with certainty. His eyes shone brightly. This poem doesn't just contain the sword chi of the longevity. It also contains some of Jin Sei's origin energy. If she leaves this world, the origin energy will completely dissipate. So, I'm sure she's still in this realm, and she's still waiting for me. Ling Xiao's heart surged as he recalled that he had already discovered traces of the Jin Sei in 4 places. The first time was in the longevity sect's Jin Sei pavilion, the little poem in the ancient painting. The second time was in the longevity secret territory, where Jin Sei killed countless heavenly demons during the Great Calamity 10,000 years ago. In the end, she was heavily injured and left the 8 Desolates region to go to the Gemini Mountain. The third time was in the mysterious 5-colored Sacred Mountain, where Jin Sei left behind a message for Ling Xiao. The fourth time was here. The path to heaven of the 5-colored Sacred Mountain, the God Burial Cave, what secrets do they hold? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He felt that there was a thick fog that hid Jin Sei's whereabouts. There must have been more secrets that he didn't know about during the Great Calamity 10,000 years ago. There was also the Supreme True Dragon. He had obtained the Scarlet Dragon War God's godhead and should have ascended to the God realm. What role did the Supreme True Dragon play in the Great Calamity 10,000 years ago? Ling Xiao's greatest worry was that Jin Sei would meet with some mishap when she went to seek revenge on the Supreme True Dragon. Now that he saw the information left behind by Jin Sei, he was completely relieved. As long as Jin Sei was still alive, he would definitely find her. Jin Sei only left behind this poem and nothing else. This means that even she wasn't confident that you would be able to come here. Let's search carefully, perhaps we'll find something else. Taoist Wu Yang said slowly. Jin Sei wouldn't have left a stone coffin here for no reason. There must be something else. You're right. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and began to search the stone coffin and the entire underground space with Taoist Wuliang. Although this space was vast and filled with chaos and heaven burial energy, it was mysterious and unfathomable. However, they didn't find anything of value. Finally, Ling Xiao found an ancient map at the bottom of the stone coffin. It depicted mountains, rivers, grass, and trees. The lines of the mountains and rivers looked somewhat familiar. This is the map of the God Burial Cave on the Scarlet Cloud God Brocade? Ling Xiao's eyes widened. This ancient map was exactly the same as the one on the Scarlet Cloud God Brocade. It pointed to the depths of the God Burial Cave. Could Jin Se have gone to the depths of the God Burial Cave? Ling Xiao pondered. Since he had found this clue, he could only explore the depths of the God Burial Cave. Ling Xiao, look. Doesn't this look like a mountain? There's an ancient road on the mountain that leads to another world. Taoist Wuliang suddenly said. In the center of God Burial Cave, where the ancient map pointed, there was a mountain peak. There was also an ancient road hidden in the clouds, faintly leading to another world. The five-colored sacred mountain and the path to heaven. Isn't that in the primitive ancient mine? Why would it appear in the God Burial Cave? Ling Xiao took a look and instantly recognized the mountain peak and the ancient road on the ancient map. It was the five-colored sacred mountain and the path to heaven that he had seen before. Ling Xiao told Taoist Wuliang about the five-colored sacred mountain and the path to heaven that he had seen in the primitive ancient mine. The five-colored sacred mountain and the path to heaven? I've heard of such rumors before. In ancient times, it was said that the mortal realm and the divine realm were connected by a sacred mountain. If one climbed the sacred mountain, they would be able to reach the divine realm. Perhaps the five-colored sacred mountain is the legendary sacred mountain. Taoist Wuliang slowly said. Could it be that Jin Se had left this ancient map because she wanted to use the five-colored sacred mountain to ascend the path to heaven and enter the divine realm? However, according to Ling Xiao, the path to heaven had been cut off above the five-colored sacred mountain. Even the scarlet dragon battle god had left a corpse there. Furthermore, Jin Se was definitely still in this world. Perhaps she had encountered something in the God Burial Cave. It seems like we have to make a trip to the God Burial Cave. A divine light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes, revealing a trace of determination. Chapter 569. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang left the God Cave together. Ling Xiao put away the stone coffin and the powerful divine Tao laws gradually dissipated. The God Cave was once again shrouded in a thick layer of heaven burial energy. However, the God Cave was bottomless. Ling Xiao and the others were far from reaching the bottom. No one knew what was in the God Cave. After Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang left, they followed the Scarlet Cloud God Brocade's map and prepared to search for Jin Se in the depths of God Burial Cave. Ling Xiao, the depths of God Burial Cave are incomparably dangerous. There are zombies born from the heavens and earth. They are even comparable to the jade corpses and heavenly corpses of Emperor Tomb Mountain. We must be careful. Taoist Wuliang said with a solemn expression. Don't worry. Although the route recorded in the Scarlet Cloud God Brocade leads to the depths of God Burial Cave, it avoids some extremely dangerous God caves. As long as we are careful, there shouldn't be any problems. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and smiled faintly. No matter what, Ling Xiao had to explore and find Jin Se's whereabouts. Alright. In the God Burial Cave, there are many god sloughs that have been dead for countless years. However, they gained sentience and became terrifying living beings. They are incomparably strong and have many supreme treasures. Who knows, we might be able to gain a lot this time. Taoist Wuliang smiled. God Burial Cave was a vast region. The heavens and earth were boundless and the earth was vast. Death was the only theme here. There were no signs of life. There were dilapidated mountains and huge chasms everywhere. On the ground, there were many huge abysses that spewed out heaven burial energy. It was like a forbidden land of the underworld. It made one feel like they were in hell. In God Burial Cave, there weren't many places that could truly be called God caves. Many fake God caves were filled with danger. Some terrifying God caves could be seen from far away. They spewed out terrifying heaven burial energy and blazed with divine light that connected the heavens and earth. The chaotic power of laws permeated the air, causing one's mind to tremble. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuyang followed the route recorded in the Scarlet Cloud God Brocade and headed towards the depths of God Burial Cave. In a certain area of God Burial Cave, the sixth saint was wrapped in a shroud. He turned into a stream of light and landed on a barren mountain. "Grandpa, things have gone south. 2 elders have died in battle, and the god's mold has been snatched away by a brat." The sixth saint stood on the barren mountain as the burial cloth emitted a black light. He pointed his finger, and a mysterious rune spread out on the burial cloth, revealing a ripple-like image. A majestic and mysterious old man in a black robe with white hair fluttering in the wind appeared on the screen. The sixth holy son's eyes were filled with bitterness as he recounted what had happened in the divine cave. A mysterious young man and a Taoist priest stole the god's cadaver, and the sword Qi in the coffin killed 3 half-Shizuan. After hearing the sixth saint's explanation, the black-robed elder's eyes glinted. "Looks like that young man is Ling Xiao without a doubt." The sixth saint was stunned. "Who is Ling Xiao? You have been in Chaos City for the past few days, so you don't know what happened on the God of War continent. 7 days ago, in the heavenly god city of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon, the Azure Dragon human emperor was discovered to be possessed by an otherworldly demon. 2 paragons, South Sky Ju and Star Emperor, arrived. That Ling Xiao even killed South Sky Venerable, Qi Sha, Junpe, and Ravenous Wolf by himself." The black-robed elder slowly recounted what had happened on the God of War continent 7 days ago. "What? That brat is actually so powerful?" The sixth saint's eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. Many people suspect that Ling Xiao has obtained the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance because the heavenly god's stone disappeared after he left. The secrets on this brat are much more precious than a god's cadaver. The black-robed elder's eyes glinted. The Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance? The sixth saint's body trembled, and a hint of passion appeared in his eyes. The Scarlet Dragon War God was said to be the strongest person in the world 1,000,000 years ago. He was a supreme powerhouse who had reached the God realm. How precious would his inheritance be? Perhaps even a supreme being would covet it. The Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance might not be real, but this old man is very interested in the heavenly God's stone and the secrets on that brat's body. Sixth, don't act rashly. I will hurry to the God Burial Cave as soon as possible. The secrets on this brat can only belong to me. The black-robed elder said slowly, his eyes glinting with sharpness. The sixth saint smiled and said, "Grandpa, don't worry. With your shroud, that brat can't do anything to me. However, he has entered the God Burial Cave. I'm afraid that brat doesn't know his limits and will die inside." God Burial Cave? The black-robed elder seemed to have thought of something, and a hint of fear appeared on his face. He said, "God Burial Cave not only has a god's cadaver, but also a peerless ruthless person. I hope that brat is lucky. Sixth, be careful. I will return as soon as possible." The shroud shrouded in black light, and the black-robed elder slowly disappeared. The shroud once again covered the sixth saint's body. The Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance? Ling Xiao, this is my luck. The sixth saint's eyes revealed an incomparably blazing light. He instantly turned into a stream of light and flew in the direction of the God Burial Cave. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuyang headed towards the depths of the God Burial Cave. Along the way, divine Tao laws, heaven burial energy, void cracks, strange creatures. There were dangers everywhere. There were a few times when Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuyang were almost killed. Fortunately, they hid in the heavenly God's stone and were able to avoid danger. The heavenly God's stone contained the perfect embryonic form of a world. Although it wasn't a powerful supreme artifact, it was incomparably sturdy. Even a supreme artifact couldn't destroy it. Relying on the heavenly god stone, Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang avoided many dangers along the way. What Ling Xiao didn't know was that the entire war god continent was shaken during these days. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor and the Crown Prince were actually possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. Under the joint attack of South Tianjue and Star Sovereign, they escaped with heavy injuries. The entire war god continent was shaken. The extraterrestrial demon had appeared once again. Furthermore, he had schemed to control countless peerless geniuses. Many people sucked in a breath of cold air. The head of the Feng Shui family, Li Chunfeng, appeared. He wasn't at a disadvantage in the battle against South Tianjue and Star Sovereign. In the end, Tai Yin's sovereign appeared to help. What happened in the heavenly god city quickly spread throughout the war god continent. Especially after the Star Palace and Nantian family announced at the same time that Ling Xiao had obtained the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance in the Heavenly God Stone. That was why he was able to kill South Tianzuan and the 3 stars of the Star Palace. Everyone was in an uproar. The Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance was countless times more precious than a supreme artifact's inheritance. Especially the legend of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Instantly, countless people began to go crazy, searching everywhere for Ling Xiao's whereabouts. Chapter 570. God Burial Cave. The sky was dark and the heaven burial chi was everywhere. The deeper they went into the God Burial Cave, the more they could see the wonders of heaven and earth. Above the vast land, countless abysses were spewing out heaven burial chi. They were like heavenly pillars that shot into the sky. The sky was shattered and the void was turbulent. The mysterious power of laws intertwined, making the place chaotic and disorderly. When Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang were at the periphery of the God Burial Cave, they could still see some warriors training. However, when they reached the depths, they couldn't see anyone. The sky was silent and the air of death was everywhere. All signs of life had disappeared. After passing through these few god caves, we will reach it. Ling Xiao looked at the map on the scarlet cloud divine brocade and his eyes were filled with anticipation. Fortunately, we have the heavenly stone. Otherwise, we would have been buried in the God Burial Cave before we could reach this place. Taoist Wuliang said with a wry smile. What he had just experienced left him with a lingering fear. The terrifying void crack and the zombie evolved from a powerful god slew. It was ferocious and extremely sensitive to life force. If they had not been hiding in the celestial stone, they would have been dead. The terror of the God Burial Cave was evident. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang could feel that even a supreme being expert would be in danger of dying here. I have completely refined the heavenly stone. It can turn into a small stone and fly without leaking any aura. Let's hide in the heavenly stone. Ling Xiao said slowly. He didn't know why, but the closer he got, the more he felt a sense of danger. The depths of the God Burial Cave were places that even Ling Xiao hadn't been to in his previous life. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang entered the heavenly stone. With a flash, the heavenly stone turned into a small stone the size of a grain of rice. Under Ling Xiao's control, it silently shot into the depths of the God Burial Cave. Those god caves were spewing out heaven burial chi. Moreover, it contained a chaotic power of laws. Under the entanglement of the chi, the void seemed to have turned into a huge swamp. Even if Ling Xiao carefully controlled the heavenly stone, he could only fly around the periphery. He didn't dare to get close to those god caves. Otherwise, if he was swept by the chaotic chi, he would instantly fall into the god caves. Although there wasn't any danger hiding in the heavenly stone, if he fell into the god caves, he wouldn't be able to get out. It took Ling Xiao 2 full days to cover the distance of 1,000 miles on the heavenly god stone. In front of them was a huge barren mountain range. There were jagged rocks everywhere, and yellow sand filled the sky. There was no sign of life. After passing through this mountain range, they finally reached the destination recorded on the Scarlet Cloud Divine Brocade. That is. Ling Xiao's gaze trembled as a huge divine cave appeared in front of him. Ancient, vast, and mysterious. These were the feelings that this divine cavern gave Ling Xiao. As he gazed into the distance, Ling Xiao was unable to see the borders of this divine cave. It was as if the ground had split open and formed a boundless abyss. Boundless divine light filled the abyss, and heaven-burying chi suffused it. It had even merged into one with the sky. This god cave was much larger than all the other god caves Ling Xiao had seen in the god burial cave. It was like a huge ocean. Endless divine light permeated the air and flowed into the distance like a stream of water. Mysterious scenes appeared in the divine light. A powerful heavenly demon rampaged through the world. With a palm strike, large numbers of living beings were killed. With a big gulp, billions of living beings became food in his stomach. There was another group of gods. They were 10,000 feet tall and wore beast skins. Their bronze skin was exposed, and their blood chi was incomparably majestic. They carried mountains on their shoulders and stepped on stars as they fought intensely with the heavenly demon. The mountains, rivers, and earth fell into the flames of war. Endless heavenly demons fell, and countless gods died in battle. The terrifying killing intent caused the world to collapse. Ling Xiao even saw true dragons rampaging through the world and true phoenixes burning the mountains and rivers. Countless living beings and powerful races were fighting. Time is in chaos. Are these marks left behind by the great battle of ancient times? Daoist Wu Yang's eyes flashed. He could faintly feel that the power of this god cave was too majestic. It caused the space and time in the world to distort. Endless divine light turned into an ocean, leaving behind mysterious scenes. Just like how a mirage was a scene of space folding, these scenes were marks left behind countless years ago. Why would the Scarlet Cloud Divine Brocade point to such a place? Could it be that this god cave has some unknown secret? Ling Xiao pondered in his heart as he guessed. Boom! At this moment, the god cave was filled with light. A skinny old man in a kasaya sat in the endless divine light. A mysterious Sanskrit came from his mouth. I swear I won't become a Buddha until hell is empty. Ling Xiao and Daoist Wu Yang understood the meaning of the Sanskrit very easily. Their gazes turned a little strange. Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja. That's Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja of the Ming Wang Temple. Why is he here? Daoist Wu Yang said slowly with a strange look in his eyes. Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. Among the two temples, the Tempest Temple was the most mysterious. It was the ancestral court of the Zen sect. It emphasized nothing outside the heart, and the heart was filled with Dharma. The Ming Wang Temple was the ancestral court of the Vajrayana sect. They usually cultivated in the secular world and were extremely active. There were 3 wisdom kings in the Ming Wang Temple, the Akalanatha, the Trailokaya Vijaya, and the Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja. All of them were of the supreme realm and their cultivation was unparalleled. This was especially so for the legendary Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja. He was extremely mysterious. It was said that he was in charge of hell, purifying vengeful spirits and cultivating immoral merit. Ling Xiao had not expected the Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja to appear here. Could this god burial cave be hell? He's already in the titled realm. If not for the heavenly stone isolating everything, we would have been discovered by him instantly. Ling Xiao and Daoist Wu Yang exchanged glances with each other as their eyes lit up. Boom! As the Sanskrit spread out, the divine light in the surroundings gradually calmed down. The celestial demon imprints from countless years ago also gradually dissipated. Ksitagarbha Vidyaraja sat in the void with his legs crossed. His body emitted a vast and eternal Buddhist light that was white and mysterious, suppressing everything. Below him, there seemed to be an invisible barrier in the god burial cave that prevented him from entering. Junior brother, you've been in charge of this place for 3,000 years. Are you still unable to enter the god burial cave? At this moment, a calm and gentle voice sounded. Flowers fell from the sky and golden lotuses bloomed from the ground. A young monk in a white monk robe and straw sandals strolled over with a faint smile on his face. He stood in the void with divine light surrounding him. The light was eternal, holy, and mysterious. Senior Brother Abbot, what brings you here? Ksitigarbha Vidyaraja looked at the young monk and asked slowly. The abbot of the Ming Wang Temple, the Akalanatha. Chapter 571. I'm here to deliver some merit to my junior. The Akalanatha smiled as he extended his jade-like palm. A majestic and dazzling stream of yellow and black chi shot through the air and landed on Ksitigarbha deity. The yellow and black chi contained the Tao of heaven and earth. When it landed on Ksitigarbha deity's body, the heavens and earth trembled. Ksitigarbha deity's cultivation level rose significantly in an instant. The Ming Wang Temple is willing to pay such a price to mobilize the origin energy of heaven and earth with the power of merit? Ling Zhao's gaze turned serious. The power of merit was also the power of providence. It was the foundation of the sacred grounds and large sections. It was the power of the heavens when one did something that would benefit the heavens and earth. The power of merit was extremely mysterious. Only those who had attained the honorable Tao would be able to make use of it. In ancient times, it was said that there was an honorable Tao master who stopped a calamity. The honorable Tao master used the power of merit to reach the immortal state. Ksitigarbha deity has already absorbed a lot of the power of merit. He's about to integrate into the God burial cave and fully understand the laws of heaven and earth. Is he trying to enter the God burial cave? Taoist Wu Yang said slowly. The laws of heaven and earth in the God burial cave were different from the outside world. Even Ksitigarbha deity was greatly repelled by it. It seems like we've accidentally stumbled upon a huge secret. Ling Xiao said slowly. If the Ming Wang Temple was willing to sacrifice the power of merit to allow Ksitigarbha deity to enter the God burial cave, the item in the God burial cave must be extraordinary. Junior, how do you feel? Can you enter the God burial cave? The Akalanatha looked at Ksitigarbha deity with anticipation. Ksitigarbha deity's eyes were still closed as he said slowly, I'm still a little short. However, with your help, I should be able to succeed. All right. The Akalanatha smiled and said, if we can enter the God burial cave and retrieve that item, we won't have wasted all the merit from the Ming Wang Temple. However, once that item appears, I'm afraid the living beings of the God of War continent will fall into a calamity. By then, even if we can discover the secret of becoming a god, we won't be able to escape the flames. Ksitigarbha deity sighed softly. The living beings of the God of War continent? They're just a bunch of ants. What does that have to do with us? If we can't pry into the secret of becoming a god, I'm afraid we'll soon turn into dust. When that time comes, everything will be for naught. The immovable Wisdom King said indifferently. His gaze was very cold. It was the kind of indifference and ruthlessness that looked down on all living beings. All right. Ksitigarbha sighed and said, after I enter the divine cave, I'm afraid that person will appear. How should senior brother deal with him? That person. There was a hint of fear in Akala's eyes, but he still said coldly, don't worry, junior brother. When the time comes, there will naturally be someone to deal with him. We don't have time anymore. I'm afraid that the group of old bald donkeys from the Tempest Temple will soon realize that something is wrong. We have to act quickly. Ksitigarbha Wisdom King nodded and said, junior brother, with the Ksitigarbha divine eye that I have accumulated for 10,000 years, together with the boundless merit and senior brother's strength, we should be able to break through this layer of shackles. Then let's begin. The immovable Wisdom King said expressionlessly. Rumble. A mysterious and vast energy exuded from Ksitigarbha Wisdom King's body. His body quickly turned black. Endless heaven burial chi surged toward him. The divine light around him was vast, and the divine chains of order intertwined. Ksitigarbha Wisdom King seemed to have become one with the body of heaven burial. Buzz! Ling Xiao saw that Ksitigarbha Wisdom King suddenly opened his eyes at this moment. A dazzling white light streaked across the sky. It was like the first ray of light that separated the heavens and earth. It was also like the light of transcendence that separated the human and divine realms. The light in Ksitigarbha Wisdom King's eyes was earth-shattering. It was as if it had surpassed the limits of the human world in an instant. The supreme divine power of the Ming Wang Temple, the Ksitigarbha Divine Eye. It hasn't opened its eyes for 10,000 years and has accumulated power for 10,000 years. It's indeed terrifying. Taoist Wuliang sighed softly. It's somewhat similar to the eye meditation of the Tempest Temple. Ling Xiao's gaze shifted as he stared at the scene in the divine cave. Crack. The void was quickly destroyed, and the invisible barrier in the divine cave was quickly annihilated. However, the chaotic space-time force pressed on as if it was going to crush Ksitigarbha Wisdom King into dust. At this moment, the primordial merit points emanated from Ksitigarbha Wisdom King's body. It seemed to have formed a primordial pagoda that resisted the suppression of the chaotic space-time force. Break! Akalanatha shouted. He sat cross-legged in the void and pinched the Akalanatha seal. Crimson light spread all over his body and turned into a 12-petaled snow lotus. It shot out 12 beams of Buddhist light and crashed into the divine cave. Boom! The divine light in the divine cave exploded. The invisible barrier seemed to be unable to withstand the power, and a huge crater appeared right away. Black demonic chi filled the air. The sky trembled as if it was connected to another world. It was vast and mysterious. Extraterrestrial demonic chi. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang shuddered. They never thought that there would be boundless demonic chi surging in the divine cave. In the middle of the demonic chi, there was a piece of black bone that was beating like a heart. It was as black as ink and exuded the mysterious power of laws. And the boundless demonic aura was emitted by this black bone. That's it. Both Ksitigarbha Wisdom King and Akalanatha shuddered. Their eyes were filled with excitement as they reached out to grab the piece of black bone. Whoosh! At this moment, a vast and blazing streak of sword light shot through the air. The white light was resplendent, like a long river. It contained endless sword intent, and large swathes of the sky were ripped open. Above the divine cave, the chaotic space-time force rose. A mysterious figure appeared. His eyes were as cold as steel as he pointed his sword at Ksitigarbha Wisdom King and Akalanatha. You're ruining things again. Kill him! Akalanatha roared. Suddenly, 3 beams of dazzling light fell from the sky and merged together to form an extremely old monk in a crimson robe. He immediately charged towards the figure. Trailokaya Vijaya. The 3 wisdom kings of the Wisdom King Temple are attacking at the same time. What is that black bone that looks like a heart? Daoist Wuliang exclaimed with a look of shock in his eyes. At this moment, Ling Xiao was completely shocked. The sword chi that pierced through the sky was the longevity sword chi. It was the strongest sword chi that could be cultivated by the longevity supreme scripture. As for the identity of the mysterious figure, Jin say, Ling Xiao's voice began to tremble as he stared at the mysterious figure in the sky. Unfortunately, the figure did not seem to exist in this world. It was trapped by the boundless space-time force. Ling Xiao could not see its face clearly, nor could he tell if it was a man or a woman. Are you Jin Sei? Chapter 572. Rumble. Trailokaya Vijaya stepped into the void, looking extremely old. However, the Buddhist light behind him shone brightly as 2 figures walked out. One was a young man in a red robe, while the other was a middle-aged man in a red robe. The 3 of them surrounded the mysterious figure and began to fight fiercely. Boom! The sword radiance pierced through the void and fell from the 9 heavens as if it was a divine sword from another world. It pierced through the layers of the void and instantly killed the young man in the red robe. What? Trailokaya Vijaya trembled. He cultivated the 3 Lives Sutra and could transform into 3 people. Each of them had the strength of his prime. In terms of combat strength, Trailokaya was the strongest person in the Ming Wang temple. However, the mysterious figure only needed one strike to kill one of his incarnations. Trailokaya eyes instantly turned solemn. Descending the 3 lives, descending the cycle of reincarnation, rotating the myriad of laws, breaking the scriptures, Trailokaya mumbled to himself. Mysterious Sanskrit spread out and the 3 figures merged together. Trailokaya had 3 heads and 6 arms and his aura skyrocketed. His 6 arms held a bell, drum, wooden fish, demon subduing pestle, Buddhist prayer beads, and incense burner respectively. 6 beams of divine light shot out towards the mysterious figure. Senior brother, help me. This person is too terrifying. Perhaps he has reached the immortal state. Trailokaya shouted with a solemn expression. Junior brother Ksitigarbha, I'm counting on you. I'll save junior brother Trailokaya. Akalanatha looked at the black bone with envy and immediately pounced towards the mysterious figure. Rumble. A purple-gold prayer will appeared in his hand. Mysterious scriptures circled around it and it emitted an eternal aura. It instantly shattered the longevity sword chi. At the same time, ancient runes floated up from the prayer wheel. They seemed to pierce through the layers of the void and charged towards the mysterious figure. Kill. Trailokaya eyes were filled with murderous intent. He used the 3-head 6-arms sutra and his supreme aura shook the heavens and earth. He joined forces with Akalanatha to execute a powerful killing move. On the other hand, Ksitigarbha Vidyaraja stretched out his hand to grab the black bone. His eyes were filled with excitement. Wang! A mysterious ripple emanated from the black bone. Beams of black divine light shrouded Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, seemingly intending to bind him. That was the purest form of the heavenly demon law, and it was extremely terrifying. However, Ksitigarbha Vidyaraja was protected by immeasurable merits, and even the heavenly demon law was unable to do anything to him. What should we do? Taoist Wu Yang glanced at Ling Xiao and asked. We can't let Ming Wang Temple get their hands on that black bone. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he steered the celestial stone towards the divine cave. If it was before, perhaps the heavenly divine stone wouldn't have been able to hide from Ksitigarbha Ming Wang. But now that the battle had broken out, the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. Rocks were flying everywhere, and even the void was collapsing. No one noticed that a small stone had quietly flown into the divine cave and was heading towards the black bone. It really is it. Ling Xiao took a deep breath. Although this black bone was much bigger, its aura was exactly the same as the 2 black bones Ling Xiao had obtained. It exudes the chi of the heavenly demon's origin. This black bone must be extremely important to the extraterritorial demons. But why would Ming Wang Temple want to get their hands on it at all costs? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered as he approached the black bone in an instant. A light flashed in his hand, and the explosive dendrobium turned into a stream of light and appeared beside the black bone in an instant. Ling Xiao had to admit that he had grasped the perfect timing. Ksitigarbha Ming Wang had already dispersed the heavenly demon law. He reached out his hand to grab the black bone, and the explosive dendrobium appeared in his palm. What? Ksitigarbha Ming Wang's body trembled, and a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. He instantly recognized the origin of the explosive dendrobium. But at this moment, his energy was erupting, and he was entangled with the heavenly demon law. How could he dodge it? Almost instantly, the energy within the explosive dendrobium lost its balance and exploded. Rumble. It was as if heaven and earth were collapsing. A terrifying black light, like an ancient beast, swallowed Ksitigarbha Ming Wang in an instant. The void was quickly destroyed like a mirror, and endless turbulence surged in the void. A mushroom cloud rose into the sky, and a terrifying destructive force enveloped the immortal Wisdom King and Trailokaya, who were fighting at the entrance of the divine cavern. Who sneaked up on me? I'll tear you to pieces. Ksitigarbha Ming Wang roared, and he was completely enraged. At the same time, his primordial spirit locked onto the divine stone. After all, the explosive dendrobium came out of the divine stone, and it had exposed the existence of the divine stone. Tear me to pieces. You'll have to have the ability to do so. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with mockery. The terrifying shockwave of the explosion sent the black bone and the divine stone flying. Ling Xiao immediately kept the black bone in the divine stone, and then drove the divine stone into the depths of the divine cavern without looking back. Rumble. The power of the explosive dendrobium's explosion was so terrifying that even Ling Xiao felt his scalp go numb. The black merit around Ksitigarbha Vidyaraja was completely shattered. The kasaya on his body was also reduced to ashes. His face was pale as he coughed up golden blood. His eyes were filled with an extremely cold look. At the same time, Ksitigarbha Ming Wang felt a lingering fear. The explosive dendrobium was too terrifying. If not for the protection of the black-yellow merit, he would have been killed by the explosion. Even the immortal Wisdom King and Trailokaya Vijaya were affected. Although they were only swept by the shockwave, they still suffered some injuries. Where do you think you're going? Ksitigarbha Ming Wang's eyes were cold, and he reached out his hand to grab the divine stone. Swoosh! Just then, the longevity sword chi came down again, and a terrifying sword light swept through everything, turning into endless sword Dao Law, and instantly engulfing Ksitigarbha Ming Wang, Trailokaya Vijaya, and immortal Wisdom King. As for the mysterious illusory figure, it faintly felt as though it was about to walk out from the endless spacetime. That terrifying power caused the scalps of the three Wisdom Kings to turn numb as they revealed terrified expressions. Puff! The sword chi was endless, vast, and mysterious. Even with the protection of supreme treasures, the sword chi still penetrated the bodies of the three Wisdom Kings. They spat out mouthfuls of blood and were instantly injured. Damn it! Our years of planning have gone to waste. Let's go. Ksitigarbha Ming Wang and immortal Wisdom King's faces were twisted, and their hearts were bleeding. The terrifying shadow was stronger than they had imagined. Although they were unwilling, they knew that if they continued to stay here, they would be in danger of dying. Buzz! The purple gold prayer wheel soared into the sky, shining with a resplendent light to instantly collide against the longevity sword beams, destroying all of the sword beams. Next, the purple gold prayer wheel swept up the three Wisdom Kings before disappearing from God Burial Cave. Chapter 573. Divine light gushed out and heaven-burying chi filled the air. Ling Xiao drove the divine stone into the depths of the divine cavern. The power of law intertwined around him, lightning raged, and destructive chi surged. It was as though there was only a chaotic void left. There was no concept of time and space. Even Ling Xiao could not control the divine stone. A terrifying tearing force sucked the divine stone to the bottom of the divine cavern. Ling Xiao and Daoist Wuyang looked at the situation in the divine cavern from the divine stone. Their eyes were filled with solemnity. Could this divine cavern be a void tunnel? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The power of time and space intertwined in a chaotic manner. This was a strange scene that could only be seen when traveling through the void. I can't see through it. Did the three Wisdom Kings of the Wise King Temple come for this black bone? What's the connection between the black bone and the divine cavern outside? Daoist Wuyang held the black bone in his hand. It was as black as ink and as clear as jade. It did not emit black demonic chi like before. It looked extremely ordinary. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. A stone box appeared in his hand. There were two black bones in the stone box. Although they looked smaller, they emitted the same aura. Buzz! At this moment, the black bone in Daoist Wuyang's hands suddenly flew up and turned into a black vortex. It directly attracted the two black bones in the stone box. The three black bones intertwined in the void. Black demonic chi filled the air and the power of law intertwined. The entire divine cavern began to stir. There seemed to be a malicious devouring force coming from the black bone. It wanted to disrupt the embryonic form of the world and extract the origin energy of the world. Oh no! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The wordless heavenly book rushed out from his glabella. It emitted a mysterious light and suppressed the black bone. Rumble. Divine light intertwined. The wordless heavenly book and the black bone were fighting. The golden light and the black demonic chi were entangled. Neither could do anything to the other. However, the black bone no longer had the energy to extract the origin energy of the world to continue resisting the wordless heavenly book. In the end, both sides were evenly matched. The black bone trembled unhappily and fell into the stone box. What a strange black bone. Ling Xiao, doesn't he look like a person? Taoist Wuliang's eyes flickered as he spoke slowly. The black bones fell into the stone box. After the three black bones fused together, it looked like it had a human head and body. Although the facial features were not clear, it faintly formed eyes, nose, mouth, and other orifices. However, he still lacked 4 limbs. As long as it grew 4 more limbs, it would become a complete skeleton. This black bone is not simple. It can actually extract and devour the world's origin. If it wasn't for the suppression of the wordless heavenly book, I'm afraid this embryonic world would have been destroyed by it. Ling Xiao said slowly. The black bone also contained an evil source energy, capable of emitting pure sky demon chi and the power of laws. Ling Xiao guessed that perhaps the black bone was a supreme treasure of the extraterrestrial demons. However, why were the 3 wisdom kings of Ming Wang Temple willing to pay any price to obtain the black bone? I'm guessing that the Ming Wang Temple has already obtained the other parts of the black bone and discovered some secrets. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to snatch the black bone. Taoist Wuliang said slowly. Ling Xiao nodded. Taoist Wuliang's guess was the same as his. However, no matter how important the secret within the black bone was, it now belonged to him. That figure, is it Jinsei? Taoist Wuliang looked at Ling Xiao hesitantly and asked softly. I'm not sure either. Ling Xiao laughed bitterly. Although that figure cultivates the longevity sword chi, its aura is completely different from Jinsei's. Moreover, we didn't see its face. We don't even know if it's a man or a woman. Ling Xiao was puzzled. He was very familiar with Jinsei's aura, but he couldn't sense any similarities from that mysterious figure. However, other than Jinsei, who else could cultivate the longevity sword chi to such a terrifying level? Ling Xiao believed that the mysterious figure's realm must have surpassed the peak of human Tao and reached the realm of the gods to be able to suppress the 3 wisdom kings with the longevity sword chi despite the chaotic spacetime. Taoist Wuliang shook his head with a bitter smile when he sensed Ling Xiao's low spirits. He knew how important Jinsei was to Ling Xiao. It was just that every time he had hope, he was disappointed again and again. Ling Xiao, look! Taoist Wuliang's eyes suddenly flashed and he exclaimed. A chaotic space had appeared outside the Empyrean stone. Chaotic mist filled the air, and a membrane seemed to have appeared in front of them, blocking everything. Looking from this direction, the entire war god continent behind them could be seen. It was like a flat and huge egg floating in the endless chaos. Countless stars orbited the continent, emitting dazzling starlight and interweaving laws and Tao. Is this the end of the war god continent? Ling Xiao's body trembled. With a thought, he appeared outside the Empyrean stone. Chaotic mist filled the air, and there seemed to be only nothingness outside the membrane. Standing here, Ling Xiao actually felt like he had forgotten about time and space, as if he was eternally immortal. The origin of the world, the end of laws and heavenly Tao. No wonder the 3 wisdom kings wanted the black bone. They wanted to come here. Taoist Wuliang's eyes were filled with incomparable shock. The chaotic mist in front of him dispersed. Outside the membrane, there was a place where colorful lines intertwined, containing the power of origin and the power of laws. Just by looking at it, Taoist Wuliang felt that his realm was rapidly improving. The origin of the war god continent. The god burial cave can lead to here. Ling Xiao was also shocked. The origin sea in front of him was interwoven with Tao and logic. It was too majestic and profound. Standing here, Ling Xiao felt like he was looking at the heavenly Tao, holding the heavenly punishment, and becoming the creator of the world. No, the origin of the war god continent is actually being invaded by some kind of power. Ling Xiao's eyes widened. He saw that there seemed to be a black light surging in the depths of the origin sea, fighting against the origin sea. And that aura was exactly the same as the black bone. Ling Xiao subconsciously took out the black bone. Rumble. After sensing the existence of the black bone, the origin power of the war god continent seemed to have gone berserk. Terrifying divine light surged from all directions, and endless origin and laws seemed to want to drown Ling Xiao. Chapter 574. Whoosh. Ling Xiao immediately withdrew the black bone, and the rampaging origin energy instantly calmed down after losing its target. The black light that was invading the origin sea was enraged. In the chaotic spacetime, it was as if there were giant demons that were millions of feet tall with monstrous auras pouncing toward Ling Xiao, containing an unimaginable rage. Boom! The origin sea also went berserk. The power of laws intertwined, and colorful lines sealed everything, blocking all the black light outside. It is indeed a demonic creature of the extraterrestrial demons. It can actually anger the origin sea. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. He felt as if he had touched upon some truth. Those demonic lights are the source of the invasion of the extraterrestrial demons, right? Although the origin sea of the war god Great World is very powerful, its laws are flawed. I'm afraid it won't be long before the entire war god Great World is plunged into misery and suffering. Taoist Wuliang sighed softly, and his eyes revealed an extremely worried expression. Although the dark origin light was far away, it gave Taoist Wuliang an unparalleled sense of terror. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang were both supremes in their previous lives, and they understood the laws of heaven and earth. Naturally, they knew what all this meant. Perhaps they had unintentionally discovered the true reason for the formation of the great calamity. The invasion of the world. Rumble. In the origin sea, black light surged and demonic aura filled the sky. It was as if countless gods and demons were fighting each other. Their roars shook the heavens, and the world was shattered. It was extremely terrifying. Countless powerhouses wearing beast skins were resisting the invasion of the extraterrestrial demons and engaged in a fierce battle. A sword aura that traversed the heavens and earth, containing unparalleled destructive power, pierced through the glabella of countless extraterrestrial demons, and the terrifying sword aura shattered them all. A figure came across the sky. Her body was as red as fire, an endless sword aura filled the air, containing an endless power. That's Jin Se. Ling Xiao's body shook, and a trace of shock appeared in his eyes. Her red dress fluttered in the origin source sea. She was an extraordinary woman with snow-white skin and a perfect and exquisite face. Her eyes were especially dazzling, like the brightest stars in the vast starry sky. She stood in the chaos with a long sword in her hand, fighting against the endless heavenly demons. Her face was as cold as ice that would never melt, and she did not know fatigue. Every sword strike was mighty and mysterious. Large numbers of heavenly demons died at her hands and were crushed into pieces by the origin sea. It really is Jin Se. Taoist Wuliang also took a deep breath, his eyes filled with disbelief. But why was Jin Se in the origin sea? No, it's just a spacetime imprint left behind by spacetime chaos. This means that the Jin Se has appeared here before, but it's not the Jin Se. Taoist Wuliang's eyes flickered as he hurriedly said. Spacetime imprint? Ling Xiao's lips curled into a bitter smile. With his eyesight, how could he not see that it was not the real Jin Se? It was just too real. Across the world membrane and the origin sea, the woman who stood in the chaos and killed countless heavenly demons was the Jin Se he had been thinking about day and night for 10,000 years. Ling Xiao, it seems that many things have happened in the past 10,000 years. Jinsei should have broken through to the God realm, but why didn't she ascend to the God realm? Instead, she appeared in the Origin Sea to resist the invasion of the heavenly demons. We must get to the bottom of this matter, Taoist Wuliang said with a solemn expression. You're right. Although this is just a space-time imprint left behind by Jinsei, I believe that Jinsei should be here. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense that the three great wisdom kings were intercepted. That mysterious figure should be Jinsei. I must recover the cultivation of my previous life as soon as possible. Then, I can break through the world membrane and step into the Origin Sea. Ling Xiao was excited. He knew that Jinsei should be in the Origin Sea, but there was no way to enter it. Perhaps it was just a short distance away, but it was so close yet so far away. Enter the Origin Sea. Ling Xiao, even an honorable can't do that. You will be assimilated by the Origin Sea and become a part of the Origin. Unless you can step into the God realm. Taoist Wuliang sighed softly. So what if I'm in the God realm? I was able to attain the title in my previous life. In this life, I must step into the God realm. Ling Xiao's eyes shone with a sharp light as he slowly spoke. Although there was no way to step into the Origin Sea now, Ling Xiao was relieved that he had found Jinsei's whereabouts. A God realm expert had a long lifespan. As long as he could confirm that Jinsei was still alive, Ling Xiao would definitely find her. Jinsei, wait for me. Ling Xiao whispered to himself. The key question now is, how do we go back? Taoist Wuliang looked at Ling Xiao and asked. It doesn't matter. The embryonic form of the world in the celestial stone is attached to the great war god world. We can just ride the celestial stone back. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. The deepest part of the god burial cave was directly connected to the Origin Sea of the great war god world. It was a one-way passage, so it was impossible to go back the way they came. However, Ling Xiao had refined the celestial stone and knew how to use the celestial stone to connect to the great war god world. That's good. Let's go. Taoist Wuliang looked at the Origin Sea with some regret. The Origin Sea contained the laws and heavenly Tao of the war god continent, but it was too abstruse for ordinary warriors. Even Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang wouldn't be able to use it if they stayed here for a long time before attaining the supremacy realm. If a honorable realm expert could come here and take a look, their cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang entered the celestial stone. The celestial stone instantly turned into a stream of light and slammed into the great war god world. Rumble. The laws of space filled the air, and the chaotic space-time energy intertwined, exuding a destructive force. Even an honorable realm expert would be crushed to dust instantly. Ling Xiao believed that only those who had transcended the great war god world and broken through to the supreme god realm could freely enter and exit the Origin Sea of the great war god world. Therefore, even if the three wisdom kings of the wise king temple really came here, unless they could break through to the supreme god realm, their lifespan would be exhausted and they would be trapped here until their deaths. Ling Xiao had snatched their black bone, so it should be said that he had saved their lives. Just as Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang left the Origin Sea was filled with chaos and fog, and a vast demonic aura exploded instantly. A figure in a red dress walked out of the endless demonic light, surrounded by a dense and powerful demonic aura. Brother Ling Xiao, where are you? I can't hold on any longer. A soft sigh reverberated in the Origin Sea, exuding endless loneliness, fragility, and longing. A crystal-clear teardrop as bright as a pearl slid down, but it was instantly reduced to nothingness by the colorful lines of the Origin Sea. Rumble. At this moment, the demonic light in the distance boiled again. Countless powerful demons roared and pounced, their terrifying divine light tearing the endless chaos apart. Powerful sword aura instantly shot up into the sky, and they walked resolutely toward the depths of the Origin Sea. Chapter 575. Boom. Outside the Empyrean God's stone, the divine light was vast and the laws were intertwined. The colorful lines of laws had a mysterious luster. The world was spinning with a force that Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang could not understand. In the end, a white light exploded. The Empyrean God's stone instantly appeared in the Great War God world and fell from the sky like a meteor. It was extremely fast. This is still the God Burial Cave. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he heaved a sigh of relief. The heaven burial chi was everywhere and divine light shot into the sky. They had returned to the God Burial Cave. However, they had returned to the outskirts of the God Burial Cave. Just as Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang were about to come out of the Empyrean God's stone, they suddenly heard a voice from afar. Venerated Ming, we've found out that Nan Tianjue is only left with his head. He's hiding in the God Burial Cave to recuperate. Now that his qi and blood are deteriorating, he can't even reform his physical body. Now is the best time to subdue him. In the distance, a crimson lotus floated over. A young monk in crimson robes was sitting cross-legged on it. Behind him were 2 old monks in crimson robes and a few young monks in white robes. The monk in the red robe was handsome and he emitted a mysterious light. Buddhist light filled the air and flowers fell from the sky. There was a pure and flawless Buddhist nature flowing around him. However, he had an evil smile on his face and mysterious runes seemed to be flickering in his eyes. Very well. If he's willing to convert to Buddhism, we'll spare his life. Otherwise, we can use his primordial spirit to refine the Supreme God pill. The young monk smiled faintly. Venerated Ming from the Wise King Temple. Why are they chasing after Nan Tianjue? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. Only the most outstanding geniuses in the Wise King Temple could be called Venerated Ming, just like the saints of the sacred grounds. Venerated Ming's cultivation was indeed extraordinary. He was already a 9th-level ruler. The 2 old monks behind him were half-step supremes who had passed the one-elephant tribulation. As for the other white-robed monks, they were also in the noble realm. They should be disciples of the Wise King Temple. Hee, Nan Tianjue is hiding here. Looks like Li Chunfeng didn't catch him. Should we kill Nan Tianjue to avenge Li Chunfeng? Taoist Wu Yang chuckled. We can capture him and hand him over to Li Chunfeng. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. Ling Xiao had killed South Heavenly Venerable, so he was now a mortal enemy of the Nantian clan. If Nantian Ju recovered from his injuries, he would definitely not let Ling Xiao go. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wu Yang hid in the God's stone. The God's stone had turned into a stone the size of a grain of rice. They quietly followed behind the people from Ming Wang Temple. After passing through a few barren mountains, a divine cave appeared in front of them. It seemed to be only 3,000 meters in size, and it was suffused with a faint heaven burial chi and the power of laws. It looked very ordinary. In such a divine cave, it was impossible to find the slough of a god or even a powerful zombie. Therefore, the danger was very low. However, the people from the Ming Wang Temple were still very cautious. The blood-red lotus flowed with a mysterious light. It seemed to have 12 petals. In an instant, it wrapped everyone up and concealed all their auras. Then, it entered the divine cave. No wonder you dared to attack Nan Tianjue. You are relying on this supreme weapon. Ling Xiao, this 12th grade blood lotus is good stuff. It is a supreme divine item that was nurtured by the heavens and earth. It was refined into a supreme weapon by the old bald donkeys of Ming Wang Temple. However, it contains the innate blood qi. If you can obtain it, your physical body might improve further. Even if you don't become a supreme, it's not impossible for you to possess the divine power of a supreme physique. Taoist Wu Yang stared at the 12th grade blood lotus and chuckled. The 12th grade blood lotus? Ming Wang Temple is really lucky. The legendary supreme divine herb, the 36th grade chaotic green lotus. If you can consume it, you can ascend and become a supreme immortal. Unfortunately, in the subsequent battles, the 36th grade chaotic green lotus split into the 12th grade golden lotus, the 12th grade black lotus, and the 12th grade blood lotus. The Blood Lotus is in Ming Wang Temple and the Golden Lotus is in Great Thunderclap Temple. Only the Black Lotus is missing. Ling Xiao smiled. The 12th grade Blood Lotus was indeed extraordinary. The innate blood qi was very strong and could help Ling Xiao cultivate the true dragon body. When the time came, he could even surpass the Supreme Real Dragon in his previous life. After all, the Supreme Real Dragon didn't cultivate the true dragon body so extravagantly. He only used a few supreme divine herbs to strengthen his blood qi. As for Ling Xiao, when he cultivated the heavenly dragon body, he used the real dragon pearl. Ordinary divine herbs were useless to him. The 12th grade Blood Lotus was good stuff. Ling Xiao and Daoist Wuyang chatted as they rode on the divine stone and followed closely behind the 12th grade Blood Lotus. They passed through the layers of heaven burial aura and even discovered many zombies in the divine cave. However, they didn't alarm them and arrived at the bottom of the divine cave safely. At the bottom of the divine cave, a faint heaven burial aura lingered. Nantianju sat on an ancient rock with his legs crossed. He had already formed a physical body, but his aura was extremely weak. His glabella was split open with a black glow surging out. He kept coughing out blood as he suffered an unimaginable injury. "Who's there?" Nantianju suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he stared at the 12th grade Blood Lotus. Although the 12th grade Blood Lotus was a supreme weapon, it couldn't hide from Nantianju's divine sense. As expected of Supreme Nantian, "I can't hide from you." Ming Zun smiled. The 12th grade Blood Lotus flickered and appeared in the sky with a faint glow. "People of the Wise King Temple. Are you trying to take advantage of the situation?" Nantianju's eyes flickered with a cold murderous intent. No, I'm not trying to take advantage of the situation. It's just that Supreme Nantian has a destiny with Buddhism. I'm here to ask Supreme Nantian to convert to Buddhism and become the Wise King of the Wise King Temple." Ming Zun smiled. "Become the Wise King of the Wise King Temple? Ha ha ha. Don't you know that I'm a heaven demon? Does the Wise King Temple want to become the enemy of the entire divine battle continent by taking in heaven demons?" Nantianju's eyes flickered with a black glow as he burst out laughing. His face was filled with disdain. "So what if you're a heaven demon? Everyone is equal in front of Buddhism. As the saying goes, lay down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha immediately. Even a heaven demon would become the most loyal follower of Buddhism if he were to convert to Buddhism. Besides, it's not like our Wise King Temple doesn't have." Ming Zun said with a smile. He was not surprised at all. "Oh. You're saying there are heaven demons in the Wise King Temple too?" Nantianju's eyes flickered with surprise. "Supreme Nantian, you're wrong. There are no heaven demons in the Wise King Temple, only the most loyal followers. If Supreme Nantian is willing, the Wise King Temple is willing to give you the title of Wise King of Nantian." Ming Zun said with a smile. "Wise King of Nantian? What a great temptation. It's a pity that I won't fall for your tricks. Please go back." Chapter 576. Nantian Supreme, I respect you as a supreme. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Do you really think you have the right to refuse me in your current state? Ming Zun's expression remained the same as he glanced at Nantian Supreme. Nantianju laughed coldly and said, "Ha ha ha. A mere 9th layer Monarch Realm Junior dares to act so arrogantly in front of me? Do you really think I wouldn't dare to kill you?" Rumble. A powerful aura burst out from Nantianju's body. The aura of a supreme pressed down on Ming Zun and the others, and it was accompanied by a dark and cold aura. However, Nantianju's face turned even paler after the aura was released. He coughed up black blood, and there seemed to be a mysterious force between his brows that was preventing him from healing. "Nantianju, since you're so stubborn, then don't blame us for vanquishing you. Set up the Blood Lotus demon subduing formation and kill him." Ming Zun's eyes turned cold as he yelled. Rumble. The 12th grade blood lotus was like a blood-red lightning bolt. It was extremely fast, and it instantly swept across the sky and landed on Nantianju's head. Rays of blood-red divine light sprinkled down, and mysterious runes flickered. The aura of a supreme artifact exploded, and it suppressed Nantianju under the 12th grade blood lotus like an ancient mountain. With the 2 half-step supremes from the Wise King Temple in the lead and the disciples of the Wise King Temple, there were 12 of them in total. They instantly stood around the 12th grade blood lotus and formed hand seals. Divine chains of order swept across the sky and bound Nantianju. Ming Zun sat on the 12th grade blood lotus with his legs crossed and chanted. It was as if there were illusions of Buddhas lingering around him, making his temperament seem extraordinary. All of this happened in an instant. After Nantianju rejected the offer, Ming Zun immediately launched an attack on Nantianju. Hee, that little bald donkey wasn't trying to persuade Nantianju to surrender. He was just secretly setting up the Blood Lotus Demon subduing formation. Taoist Wuliang chuckled. Then do you think the people from the Wise King Temple can kill Nantianju? Ling Xiao smiled. Taoist Wuliang was slightly startled. His eyes flickered as he said, not necessarily. Nantianju seems to be severely injured. His forehead is cracked, and his primordial spirit is unstable. I'm afraid he can only unleash the strength of a half-step supreme. Wise King Temple has the 12th grade Blood Lotus Demon subduing formation, so they seem to have the upper hand. However, I have a feeling that it was too easy for the Ming Wang Temple to discover the Southern Sky Ju. Ling Xiao nodded, his eyes revealing a wisp of wisdom as he said, you're right. As a dignified Supreme Being expert, how could he allow others to discover his place of recuperation so easily? Unless he did it. A glint flashed across Taoist Wuliang's eyes as he said with a smile, so that's how it is. To be able to make Nantianju expose himself on purpose, I'm afraid he's only after the 12th grade Blood Lotus. It, too. Ling Xiao said with a smile. When he thought of this, he was in no hurry to attack. The people from the Wise King Temple wanted to take advantage of the situation, but they had fallen into Nantianju's trap. Boom! The battle between the people from the Wise King Temple and Nantianju broke out instantly. The Blood Lotus Demon subduing formation used the strength of the 12th grade Blood Lotus to form the demonic blood saber. It could unleash the strength of a supreme. The 12th grade Blood Lotus emitted 12 rays of divine light. Blood energy surrounded Nantianju and turned into a blood sea, enveloping him. 12 rays of divine light rose from the blood sea. The terrifying saber radiance shot across the sky, unleashing a terrifying destructive force. Each of the 12 demonic blood sabers was comparable to a full-powered attack from a Supreme Being. Even a true Supreme Being expert would have to be cautious when facing the Blood Lotus Demon subduing formation, let alone Nantianju, who was severely injured. Boom! Nantianju, who was in the blood sea, did not show any fear. The terrifying divine light around him was vast and unparalleled. He took the attack of the demonic blood saber head-on. His body instantly exploded in the sea of blood. What? Ming Zun was taken aback. He did not expect Nantianju to be so weak. He was killed by the Blood Lotus Demon subduing formation without any resistance. Oh no! Ming Zun's expression changed. He sensed that there was no trace of Nantianju's primordial spirit in the Blood Lotus Demon subduing formation. He immediately understood that Nantianju was just a substitute. Boom! Before Ming Zun could do anything, black demonic chi surged from the surrounding cliffs. The mysterious power of laws intertwined and turned into 12 demonic shadows. They charged towards the 12 disciples and elders of the Wise King Temple. Ah! Cries of agony were heard as the demonic shadow pounced. Immediately, the noble plain disciples of Ming Wang Temple were unable to fight back at all. Their essence, blood and primordial spirits were all devoured, turning into dried corpses. They died instantly. The expressions of the two half-step Supreme Being old monks also changed drastically. Although they were surrounded by boundless Buddhist light and were constantly resisting the attacks of the demonic shadow, they were also in imminent danger. Speaking of which, I really have to thank you. Did you really think that it was so easy for you to discover my tracks? If I did not expose my tracks, I would not have attracted the great 12 blood lotus. Ha ha ha. A loud laugh was heard. Nantianju stepped out of the demonic light. Although his face was pale, his eyes were filled with murderous intent. A black saber slashed towards Mingzun. So your real target is the great 12 blood lotus. But you still have to die. Mingzun's expression changed. His eyes were filled with coldness. The disciples of the wise King Temple were all loyal to him. Now that they were killed by Nantianju, he was heartbroken. Boom! Under Mingzun's control, saber radiance rose from the blood sea. Demonic blood sabers rose and slashed towards Nantianju. This was the terror of the great 12 blood lotus. With the great 12 blood lotus, one could temporarily unleash the power of a supreme. Although Nantianju had used a substitute to break the blood lotus demonic formation temporarily, as long as Mingzun was alive, he could use the power of the great 12 blood lotus to form the demonic blood sabers. Rumble. Boom. The heavens and earth shook. The demonic blood sabers swept across the sky and the blood sea raged. Even Nantianju looked solemn in the face of such a terrifying radiance. Nantianju's saber was instantly destroyed by the demonic blood sabers. A terrifying murderous aura spread towards him. At this moment, Nantianjue revealed a pained expression. With a flash of light, a black bead appeared in his hand. Chapter 577. What's that? Ling Zhao's eyes flickered. He could sense that the black demonic pearl was extremely dangerous. It emitted a destructive force that was comparable to a titled sovereign. Go to hell. Nan Tianjue's eyes flashed coldly as the black demonic pearl flew towards Mingzun. Mingzun's expression changed. He could also sense a fatal danger from the demonic pearl. Without hesitation, a demonic saber slashed across the sky from the blood sea. The terrifying saber was about to send the demonic pearl flying. Rumble. The demonic pearl seemed to have a mind of its own. Like a black lightning bolt, it bypassed the demonic saber and exploded the moment it got close to Mingzun. Like a mirror, the void shattered in an instant. Surging divine light swept in all directions. The chaotic power of laws intertwined. The powerful blood lotus demon subduing array shattered instantly. Mingzun, who was sitting cross-legged on the blood lotus demon subduing array, was filled with disbelief and fear. His body was instantly devoured by the black demonic light. Even the two half-step sovereigns who were still resisting the demonic shadow were turned into nothingness. The power of the heavenly demon king. Ling Zhao said slowly with a solemn look in his eyes. He recalled the heavenly demon king who had saved Nan Tianjue. The demonic pearl was probably a life-saving item given by the heavenly demon king. Rumble. The black demonic light exploded and the entire divine cavern trembled. If it weren't for the mysterious Tao laws and heaven burial qi, the divine cavern would have collapsed completely. The great 12 blood lotus buzzed and lost all of its blood radiance. It dimmed as if it was severely injured and fell to the ground. Ha ha ha. My plan was not in vain. The great 12 blood lotus is finally in my hands. Nan Tianjue's eyes lit up as he reached out to grab the great 12 blood lotus. Let's go and kill this old man. Taoist Wu Yang said eagerly. Wait a minute. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. Rumble. At this moment, the great 12 blood lotus emitted a dazzling light and charged towards Nan Tianjue with a powerful force. A dying blow. Unfortunately, you're still too inexperienced. Nan Tianjue sneered. The sovereign primordial spirit flew out from between his eyebrows. The majestic primordial spirit pressed down from the sky and instantly dissolved the power of the 12th grade blood lotus. However, Nan Tianjue's face also turned abnormally red, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Wang! The 12th tier blood lotus buzzed and trembled. A young monk in white robes flew out from it. He stood in the air and emitted a vast and majestic Buddhist light. He looked coldly at Nan Tianjue. Nan Tianjue, how dare you kill Ming Zun of Ming Wang Temple and snatch my 12th grade blood lotus? Are you seeking death? The young monk said coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. He, immovable wisdom king, if your original body was here, I would naturally not be your opponent. However, a mere imprint of your primordial spirit dares to be so presumptuous in front of me? Nan Tianjue sneered. His majestic primordial spirit pounced towards immovable wisdom king, and an intense battle ensued. Although immovable wisdom king only left an imprint of his primordial spirit on the 12th tier blood lotus, he was after all a titled Taoist. His strength was unparalleled, and Nan Tianjue was severely injured. Therefore, it was hard to tell who would come out on top. In the end, although Nan Tianjue destroyed immovable wisdom king's primordial spirit imprint, his primordial spirit became even weaker. Nan Tianjue took a deep breath and retracted his primordial spirit. His eyes were filled with excitement. This was a part of the grade 36 chaotic green lotus. As long as he refined the 12th tier blood lotus, the primordial blood chi in it would not only heal his injuries, but also improve his strength. Now's the time. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed in the divine stone. The divine steel of sun and moon was in Ling Zhao's hand. His figure flashed and appeared silently behind Nan Tianjue. Then, he smashed the brick down. Rumble. The heavenly steel of sun and moon contained the godly power of the sun and moon, which was comparable to an immemorial godly mountain. Furthermore, Nan Tianju had relaxed his mind, so how could he have thought that someone would sneak attack him? This brick solidly hit the back of his head. Nan Tianjue's vision turned black. His head was dizzy and he felt that his head was about to explode. Fortunately, his head had been condensed by supreme law and was extremely sturdy. When the brick came down, it only left a crack on his head and did not directly shatter it. However, Taoist Wuliang followed closely behind Ling Zhao. A broken black saber appeared in his hand. It emitted a mysterious and terrifying light. It was the saber that the Scarlet Dragon War God used in the past, the divine saber of judgment. Although the weapon spirit was destroyed by Ling Zhao, and the divine saber of judgment was damaged, it still possessed terrifying power. Crack! A black light flashed, and Nan Tianjue's head was instantly split open. The black saber aura surged, carrying a monstrous killing intent. It almost destroyed Nan Tianjue's primordial spirit. Whoosh! The wordless heavenly book rolled up. Nan Tianjue's primordial spirit did not even have the chance to react before it was absorbed by the book. This series of actions was incomparably smooth. Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang's cooperation was superb. Although it seemed easy to kill a supreme in an instant, the divine steel was a supreme treasure. The divine steel of sun and moon was a supreme treasure that was comparable to a supreme weapon. The divine saber of judgment was the saber of the Scarlet Dragon War God, and the wordless heavenly book was a creation divine weapon. If Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang could not take down Nan Tianjue, who was at the end of his rope, then the two of them should really die. Buzz! The originally dim 12th grade blood lotus trembled slightly at this moment. It emitted streaks of bloody light and wanted to break through the sky and fly away. Ling Zhao's attention was already on the 12th grade blood lotus. The divine stone flashed and absorbed the 12th grade blood lotus into the divine stone. At this moment, Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang were completely relieved. Before they could say anything, they felt a fatal danger approaching. It was as if a great disaster was about to befall them. Ling Zhao and Taoist Wuliang did not hesitate and entered the divine stone in an instant. The divine stone turned into an extremely ordinary stone and fell to the bottom of the god cavern. Boom! The void was torn apart in an instant. Endless fog filled the air and the Buddhist light was dazzling. A powerful primordial spirit swept across. It's the Akalanatha. He came so quickly. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang gasped. They did not expect the Akalanatha to have not left the god burial cave. If it were not for the divine stone, Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang would have been in deep trouble. The powerful primordial spirit scanned the surroundings and did not find anything. With a cold snort, it swept up the corpses of the people from the bright king temple and disappeared from the god cavern. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang did not act rashly. After a while, the primordial spirit of the Akalanatha tore the void again and scanned the surroundings. After finding nothing, it left reluctantly. What a cunning old fox! Chapter 578. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang stayed in the Empyrean stone for 3 days before they carefully left the divine cavern. The 12th grade blood lotus is considered a supreme treasure even in the wise king temple. Now, it's ours. When do you plan to refine it? Taoist Wuliang chuckled. The 12th grade blood lotus had a strong spirituality. Even under the suppression of the Empyrean stone, it still emitted a dazzling blood-red light. Ling Xiao coveted the innate blood essence that flowed out of it. It's not the time yet. Ling Xiao smiled. The wise king temple has been refining the 12th grade blood lotus for many years. If I refine it, they'll probably come knocking on our door soon. Moreover, my heavenly dragon body hasn't been cultivated to perfection yet. It's not the time for me to break through to the true dragon body. Ling Xiao planned to cultivate the heavenly dragon body to perfection after breaking through to the monarch realm. At that time, he would refine the 12th grade blood lotus and strive to break through to the true dragon body in one go. The true dragon body was extremely powerful. From his previous life, he could see how terrifying the supreme true dragon was. Moreover, it was extremely difficult to break through. Ling Xiao temporarily put the sky-devouring secret technique and the ancestral dragon secret technique aside. As he comprehended the teleportation secret technique and the true phoenix secret technique, he could feel the wonders of these two secret techniques. This was especially true for the phoenix secret technique. When he practiced it with the dragon ancestor's secret technique, a mysterious phenomenon of a dragon and a phoenix appeared. Not only did it strengthen Ling Xiao's body, but it also began to produce an immortal substance. Those old baldies from the wise king temple only know how to bully men and women. They've brought shame to the Buddha. They're far inferior to those old fellows from the great Thunderclap temple. We've taken their 12th grade blood lotus. We're doing justice for the heavens. Taoist Wuliang sneered. Obviously, he was unhappy with the wise king temple. Why? Are you still holding a grudge against the wise king temple for almost being raped by the wise king concubine 10,000 years ago? Ling Xiao said with a smile. He naturally knew why Taoist Wuliang was in a bad mood. 10,000 years ago, Taoist Wuliang was a playboy, seducing countless holy maidens and princesses. He even impregnated one of them. Like the old goat, he became a street rat on the war god continent. However, one would meet a ghost if one walked too much at night. Once again, Taoist Wuliang fell into the hands of a Ming concubine of Ming Wang Temple. There were both men and women in the Ming Wang Temple. The most outstanding female disciples were known as concubines Ming. Most of them practiced the blissful Zen. It could be said that they had a lot of male companions and could sleep with anyone. Ming Fei was best at harvesting yang to nourish yin. If it was not for Ling Xiao's help, Taoist Wuliang would have been in deep trouble. Don't mention that. None of the people from Ming Wang Temple are good. Taoist Wuliang was embarrassed. Ha ha ha. Alright, let's not talk about it. We have already left the region of God Burial Cave. Is Two Worlds City in front of us? Ling Xiao smiled. He took out the Crimson Cloud Divine Brocade map and glanced at it. Two World City. It seemed like he had arrived at the wild demon region. If you want to go to the East Sea, you have to go through the wild demon region. It's a pity that Two Worlds City doesn't have a teleportation formation to the East Sea. Taoist Wuliang said regretfully. The eastern region of the God of War continent was a vast mountain range. It was the region where the demon race lived. There were many powerful demon kings, and even demon supremacies. There were also some powerful beasts and ancient species that did not have any intelligence. Because of the extraterrestrial demons, the various races on the God of War continent were very united. However, after tens of thousands of years of peace, there were still conflicts between the humans and the demon race. There would often be fights. The demon race could devour human experts to increase their cultivation rapidly. On the other hand, when humans killed the demon race, they could use the skin, hair, tendons, and bones of the demon race to refine pills and weapons. Two Worlds City was the boundary between the humans and the demon race. In Two Worlds City, one could see many humans, but there were even more demon race. It was said that Two Worlds City was jointly guarded by a supreme human and a supreme demon. Killing was prohibited in Two Worlds City. Therefore, humans and demon race often traded in Two Worlds City. Human elixirs, spirit weapons, and even cultivation methods and martial arts could be exchanged for many demon race heavenly treasures. After all, there were very few demon race experts who were proficient in refining pills and weapons. Ling Xiao and Taoist Wuliang left God Burial Cave. They found a hidden place and came out of the sky God's stone. In the distance, on the vast land, a huge black city rose from the ground. It was like an ancient beast, emitting an ancient and ferocious aura. Two Worlds City. Two Worlds City was made of black granite. There were supreme Tao marks engraved on it. It had a long history, at least hundreds of thousands of years of history. Legend had it that 1,000,000 years ago, the humans and demon race fought bloody battles. Later, because of the invasion of the extraterrestrial demons, under the leadership of the Scarlet Dragon War God, the humans and demon race stopped fighting. They used Two Worlds City as the boundary, dividing the human and demon race into two regions. However, there were different opinions. The humans said that the Scarlet Dragon War God was a human expert. The demon race also said that the Scarlet Dragon War God was a demon god of the demon race. However, after countless years, many truths were buried in the dust of history. At the entrance of Two Worlds City, there were 2 rows of burly guards. One row was wearing white armor. They were at least in the noble realm. They were human experts. The other row was wearing black armor. They were extremely ferocious and had scarlet eyes. They were experts of the demon race. Anyone who wanted to enter Two Worlds City had to pay the entrance fee. Each person had to pay 10 pure yang elixirs. Ling Xiao paid 20 pure yang elixirs and swaggered into Two Worlds City with Taoist Wuliang. Two Worlds City was crowded with people. It was very lively. The streets were very wide. There were ancient shops on both sides. There were also some very luxurious palaces, restaurants, markets, and inns. Ling Xiao could see a pretty girl with a few furry tails behind her. She was sweetly greeting customers. A chef with the head of a bull and the body of a human was holding a wok to cook. He looked very skilled. On the street far away, a burly man with a head of golden hair and a head full of golden blood chi was majestic. Ling Xiao could tell at a glance that he was a lion demon. He was actually performing a performance of breaking a rock with his chest. There were waves of cheers coming from all around. At the entrance of many restaurants, there were waiters of the demon race. They were doing their best to attract customers. Ling Xiao even saw a brothel called Heavenly Fragrance Brothel. There were all kinds of beautiful women of the demon race. There were foxes, cats, rabbits, deer. Some of them had not fully transformed into human form. They had a horn on their head, a tail behind them, and pointed ears. However, they were all very beautiful and had a different kind of temptation. As expected, this heavenly fragrance brothel was full of customers. Most of them were human warriors. Chapter 579. Especially on both sides of the street, many rogue cultivators of the human clan and the demon clan were setting up stalls. There were many treasures, elixirs, and spiritual weapons on them. Some of the demon clan were even bargaining. Two Realms City is really lively. Ling Xiao sighed softly. Ling Xiao, I heard that the beauties in Heavenly Fragrance Restaurant are all outstanding beauties. They are even more charming than the beauties of the human clan. Why don't we go and take a look? Taoist Wuliang's eyes were fixed on Heavenly Fragrance Restaurant when he saw it. He didn't even look back. Can't you be more promising? Ling Xiao was speechless. He quickly pulled Taoist Wuliang back. These girls are in deep trouble, and they need me to rescue them. I'm doing this to benefit the common people. How can I be useless? Taoist Wuliang laughed shamelessly. He pulled Ling Xiao and was about to walk toward Heavenly Fragrance Restaurant. You can go by yourself. I'm not going. Ling Xiao said helplessly. How can I do that? As the saying goes, good brothers share blessings and misfortunes. How can I leave you behind? Let's go. I'll take you to have some fun. I haven't been here for 10,000 years. I miss you so much. Taoist Wuliang didn't give up. He smiled wretchedly. At this moment, a voice came into Ling Xiao's ears. Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. Brother Ling, I'm Jian Yuanchen. I'm in Heavenly Fragrance Restaurant. Please come over for a chat. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he saw a young man wearing white robes and carrying a long sword on his back on the second floor of the Heavenly Fragrance brothel. He looked extremely refined and handsome as he smiled at Ling Xiao. Jian Yuanchen. Ling Xiao was surprised. Jian Yuanchen was the successor of the Sword God Pavilion. Ling Xiao saved him in the God's Stone. Jian Yuanchen was a kind person. He even supported Ling Xiao later. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao followed Taoist Wuliang into Heavenly Fragrance Restaurant. As soon as he entered the Heavenly Fragrance brothel, the fragrance of the mortal world's cosmetics filled the air. In front of him were big white breasts and pairs of bewitching eyes. Taoist Wuliang's legs immediately went soft. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly and shook his head. He ignored him and went up to the second floor alone. Brother Ling, come in quickly. After Jian Yuanchen welcomed Ling Xiao in, he looked around and then closed the door vigilantly. In the room, in addition to Jian Yuanchen, there was a burly man in a black robe who looked simple and honest. He was chewing on a lamb leg. Aside from the simple and honest man, there was also a young bladesman wearing black robes and carrying a saber on his back. A faint baleful aura surrounded him. When the two of them saw Ling Xiao, the honest-looking man grinned and lowered his head to continue eating his lamb leg. On the other hand, the young swordsman looked at Ling Xiao with a hint of eagerness in his eyes. Brother Jian, did something happen? Why are you being so careful? Ling Xiao looked at Jian Yuanchen and said. Brother Ling, could it be that you don't know? The news of you obtaining the Scarlet Dragon Wargod's inheritance has already spread throughout the entire Wargod continent. Jian Yuanchen smiled bitterly. After Ling Xiao left Heaven God City, Nantian family and Star Palace announced at the same time that Ling Xiao had obtained the Scarlet Dragon Wargod's inheritance and offered a reward to capture Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's gaze turned cold and he said coldly, Nantian family and Star Palace are really haunting me. They really dare to say such things out of thin air. Brother Ling, there is indeed no Scarlet Dragon Wargod's inheritance in the God's Stone. Many Supreme Masters have already checked the God's Stone. Hence, the old monsters in the sanctuary shouldn't believe it. However, many young talents are interested in you. There are also some assassins who want to kill you and claim the reward from Nantian family and Star Palace. Jian Yuanchen smiled bitterly and said. That's right. Brother Ling, my grandfather said that you should be careful. If you are in danger, go to Demon Bear Mountain. My grandfather will help you. The honest-looking man chuckled as he looked at Ling Xiao. Your grandfather? Ling Xiao was stunned. Jian Yuanchen clapped his hands and quickly said, I forgot to introduce you. Ling Xiao, this is Xiong Xiaohei's grandson, Xiong Xiaohei. This is Xiaolua sect's protodisciple, Qing Jie. Xiong Xiaohei. When Ling Xiao heard the name, the corners of his mouth twitched. He guessed that Xiong Xiaohei's son might be called Xiong Dahei. The name was given casually. However, Ling Xiao was very grateful to Xiong Xiaohei. Hence, he had a good impression of Xiong Xiaohei. As for Xiaolua sect's protodisciple, Qing Jie. Ling Xiao glanced at the young swordsman, Qing Jie, and asked softly, Brother Cheng, 10,000 years ago, your sect's Supreme Asura was ranked 3rd among the 10 titled Supreme Masters. I wonder if he is still alive. Qing Jie's eyes flashed. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to ask him this question. However, he still said calmly, Brother Ling, Supreme Asura Patriarch passed away during the calamity 10,000 years ago. Perhaps he has ascended to the divine realm. I'm not sure. So that's how it is. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of disappointment. Supreme Asura was one of his best friends in his previous life. Originally, he still had a glimmer of hope in his heart. However, it seemed that Supreme Asura was no longer alive. Brother Ling, you'd better change your appearance now. Otherwise, I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble. Jian Yuanchen glanced at Ling Xiao and said worriedly. Hee, what's there to be afraid of? They're just a bunch of useless people. If anyone dares to come and seek death, just kill them. Taoist Wu Yang pushed the door open and entered. He smiled indifferently. Taoist Master, don't let your guard down. I heard that not only are many half-step Supreme Masters eyeing Brother Ling, but even the Netherworld Pavilion has assassins who want to deal with Brother Ling. Jian Yuanchen said with a solemn expression. Netherworld Pavilion? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. The Netherworld Pavilion was one of the 5 pavilions. It was on par with the Treasure Pavilion. It was also one of the 5 great holy lands. However, the Netherworld Pavilion was full of assassins who were proficient in the art of assassination. Like the Heavenly Court Pavilion, the Netherworld Pavilion was an assassin organization. They had even assassinated Supreme Masters before. However, they were very smart. They rarely attacked people from the holy lands of martial arts. The people they assassinated were those who did not have a strong background. That was why they could survive until now. Otherwise, they would have been besieged by all the holy lands of martial arts. Ling Xiao did not care about the half-step Supreme Masters. He did not care about them now. With all his means, it would not be difficult for him to kill a half-step Supreme Master. However, the Netherworld Pavilion was indeed a group of people who were haunting him. Brother Ling, why don't you join the Asura sect? As long as you join the Asura sect, even the Netherworld Pavilion will not dare to touch you. Qing Jie suddenly looked at Ling Xiao and said slowly. Chapter 580. Is there a difference? Qing Jie raised his eyebrows. Of course there's a difference. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, if it's your idea, I'm afraid you can't make the decision. If it's Xiaolua sect's idea, I might consider it. Ling Xiao was surprised. Could it be that someone in Xiaolua sect had noticed something? After all, it was not the first time he had used the sky-devouring secret skill. If someone was observant, they might be able to connect him with sky-devouring supreme. It's sect master's idea. He said that as long as you're willing to join Xiaolua sect, you'll be a protodisciple of Xiaolua sect. Qing Jie did not hide it and said slowly. What? Sect master actually took a fancy to Ling Xiao. Jian Yuanchen and Xiong Xiaohei were surprised and happy. Although they were confused, if Ling Xiao joined Xiaolua sect and became a protodisciple, Netherworld Pavilion would not dare to act rashly. Sect master. May I ask what's the relationship between your sect master and Xiaolua Supreme? Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a strange look. The descendant of Xiaolua Supreme. Qing Jie said slowly. Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. A cold young man in a black robe appeared in his mind. He was arrogant and powerful. He did not expect that the guy who pursued the peak of martial arts would get married and have children. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. He glanced at Qing Jie and said, "Well, I'll think about it." The most important thing for Ling Xiao now was to go to the East Sea to rescue Long Han Yen, which could be considered as completing one of the obsessions of this physical body. The second thing was to break through to the Supreme Realm as soon as possible and find Jin Se. Ling Xiao knew that Jin Se was there. In the lonely Origin Sea, Jin Se had been waiting for 10,000 years. He did not want Jin Se to be lonely any longer. "Brother Jian, why didn't you return to Sword God Pavilion? Why did you come to Two World City?" Ling Xiao glanced at Jian Yuanchen and smiled, changing the topic. Sword God Pavilion was in Sword God Land in the southwest of War God Continent. It was far from Two World City. Ling Xiao thought that Jian Yuanchen and Jian Bumi would return to Sword God Pavilion after Heaven God City. "Ling Xiao, don't you know? The holy ground is about to open." Jian Yuanchen smiled, with a trace of anticipation in his eyes. The holy ground? A bright light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He was also slightly moved. The holy ground was also one of the 8 great forbidden lands, but it was not as dangerous as the other 7 great sacred lands. It was said that the holy ground was the place where the ancient saints passed away, and it contained endless fortunes. The holy ground opened once every 1,000 years, and every time it opened, it would attract countless geniuses and experts. This was because the holy ground not only had all kinds of opportunities, but it also had the opportunity to prove one's Tao. This was especially true for those experts who had broken through to the half-step sovereign realm. If they wanted to pass through the tribulations of the 4 symbols and the sovereign tribulations, they would almost certainly die. However, if one could obtain the 4 symbols' origins in the saint ground, they would be able to pass through the tribulations of the 4 symbols quickly. The holy ground was located in the desolate demon region. Therefore, every time the holy ground opened, most of the experts of the demon race would come. Even many old monsters would come. Other than the fact that Supreme Being experts were unable to enter the holy ground, there weren't many restrictions on the holy ground. In Ling Zhao's previous life, he obtained the sky-devouring secret skill in the holy ground and met the old goat. It could be said that the holy ground was the beginning of Ling Zhao's rise. After being reborn, Ling Zhao naturally didn't want to miss the holy ground. Especially in his previous life, there were countless secrets in the holy ground. There were many places of opportunities that he needed to explore. "When will it open?" Ling Xiao asked. "In a month's time. It's still the sacred mountain of the desolate demon region. Therefore, it's not just us. Many people have come to Two World City to wait." Jian Yuanchen said. "Brother Ling, come with us. With your combat strength, when we reach the holy ground, we will definitely be able to sweep through everything and snatch the endless opportunities." Xiong Xiaohe said with a simple and honest smile. His eyes were full of eagerness. "Okay." Ling Xiao pondered for a moment and agreed. The desolate demon region was extremely vast. Even Ling Xiao would need at least a few months to cross the desolate demon region and reach the East Sea. Ling Xiao knew that there was a secret teleportation formation in the holy ground that could reach the shore of the East Sea. At this moment, there was a sudden commotion outside the window. On a wide street, a group of experts from the demon race who wore black armor and had peerlessly powerful auras surrounded a young man and woman. Their gazes were icy cold. "Yi Feng, Yi Meng, I advise you not to resist and obediently return to the Sky Demon Palace with me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless." Among the experts of the demon clan, a young man in red armor with a cold face said indifferently. The young man had crimson hair and looked like a flaming lion. His entire body was suffused with blood energy, and there seemed to be flames flowing in his eyes. He emanated an extremely powerful aura. Shockingly, his cultivation was at the first level of the monarch realm, and he'd condensed a divine ability Dharma idol. Everyone looked at the young man and the experts of the demon race with reverence in their eyes. The Sky Demon Palace was the holy land of the demon race. It could be said to be one of the strongest forces in the desolate demon region. No wonder they dared to act so arrogantly and capture people in Two World City. Han Feng, we won't go back with you. I've already given you sufficient pure yang pills to redeem our freedom. What right do you have to capture us? The young man had an extremely handsome appearance, but his countenance was extremely pale right now, and his eyes were filled with rage. Redeem your freedom. Both of you are my slaves. That little bit of pure yang pills isn't even enough to redeem your freedom, yet you want to escape. Moreover, both of you are my slaves and my personal belongings. I haven't broken the rules of Two World City by capturing both of you. Han Feng laughed coldly as his red hair fluttered in the wind. You clearly said that we would regain our freedom if we were given 100,000 pure yang pills. You didn't keep your word. The young woman called Yi Meng opened her eyes wide and spoke with an aggrieved tone. She seemed to be very weak and actually didn't possess any cultivation. Moreover, her countenance was very pale, and she emanated an aura that aroused pity in others. 100,000 pure yang pills. Hee, both of you would have died a long time ago if this young master hadn't raised you all these years. Is a mere 100,000 pure yang pills enough to repay this young master for saving your lives? If you want freedom, then fine. Give me 1,000,000 pure yang pills and I'll let both of you go immediately. Han Feng said mockingly as he looked at the pair of siblings in front of him. 1,000,000 pure yang pills. You. Yi Feng pointed at Han Feng furiously, his eyes filled with rage. He was only at the sky human realm, and the 100,000 pure yang pills were something that he had obtained by chance. Otherwise, with his cultivation base, it would have been impossible for him to obtain 100,000 pure yang pills in his lifetime. If you don't have 1,000,000 pure yang pills, then don't talk so much nonsense. Capture them. Han Feng sneered and waved his hand impatiently. Chapter 581. Stop! A calm voice rang out. The crowd parted and Ling Xiao, Daoist Wu Yang, and the others walked in. I've paid the 1,000,000 ransom for the siblings. Ling Xiao said calmly. His eyes fell on Yi Feng and Yi Meng as he felt emotional. The Dark Sovereign, the descendant of the King of Assassins, had actually fallen to such a state. Ling Xiao's eyes turned cold. He didn't plan on meddling in other people's business, but when he felt the bloodline in Yi Feng and Yi Meng, he immediately decided to save them. In his previous life, Ling Xiao's third disciple, Yi Qianjue, cultivated the Tao of Darkness and became the Dark Sovereign. He specialized in the Tao of Slaughter and was known as the King of Assassins. At his peak, even the Underworld Pavilion and Heavenly Court Pavilion would turn around and leave when they saw Yi Qianjue. Among Ling Xiao's 7 disciples, Yi Qianjue's cultivation wasn't the highest, but his combat strength was definitely the strongest. Under the state of assassination, Yi Qianjue had killed more than one sovereign. Yi Feng and Yi Meng actually had the Dark Sovereign bloodline and also had the same surname. Ling Xiao believed that this wasn't a coincidence. Who are you? Han Feng looked at Ling Xiao with displeasure. These siblings are my old friends. I've paid the ransom for them. Here is 1,000,000 pure yang pills. Ling Xiao said calmly. With a flash of light, a storage ring flew towards Han Feng. 1,000,000 pure yang pills. Kid, you dare to meddle in the business of my Sky Demon Palace? You really have guts. Han Feng said with a cold laugh. Brother Han, this is a friend of mine. I hope that Brother Han can give me some face and let these two go. Xiong Xiaohe stood out and bowed to Han Feng with a smile. Xiong Xiaohe. Who do you think you are? Even your grandfather Xiong Xiaohe doesn't dare to ask me to give him face in front of me. A cold light flashed in Han Feng's eyes as he said with disdain. You bastard. Even though Xiong Xiaohe's personality was very simple, he was still enraged by Han Feng. His eyes were covered in a layer of blood. Han Feng, let people off when possible. Don't go too far. Take the pure yang pill and leave. Qing Jie had a good relationship with Xiong Xiaohe. When he saw his friend being humiliated, a cold light flashed in his eyes as he said coldly. I was wondering who it was. He didn't expect it to be the formation tribulation of the Shura sect. Last time, you lost to me. Do you still want to humiliate yourself this time? A cold light flashed in Han Feng's eyes. He didn't expect Qing Jia of the Shura sect to stand out. Although the Sky Demon Palace was a giant in the Wild Demon region, the Azura sect wasn't any weaker than the Sky Demon Palace. The Azura sect didn't discriminate between races. Not only were there human disciples, but there were also many demon experts. The relationship between the Sky Demon Palace and the Azura sect was very tense. Last time, if you didn't rely on the quasi-supreme weapon, it's hard to say who would have won. Han Feng, you've already gotten 1,000,000 pure yang pills. Don't be so ungrateful. Although Qing Jie did not know why Ling Xiao wanted to save this pair of siblings, 1,000,000 pure yang pills was indeed a sky-high price. It was even enough to hire a half-step supreme being expert as a guard. There was no need to use so many pure yang pills to redeem this pair of siblings. Han Feng was clearly asking for too much. They're my slaves. If I want to release them, I'll release them. If I don't want to release them, I won't release them. Brat, take your pure yang pills and get lost. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. The storage ring in Han Feng's hand instantly flew back to Ling Xiao. Although he coveted the 1,000,000 pure yang pills, this was a matter of face. He couldn't compromise like this. Is that so? I'm going to protect this pair of siblings today. What do you want? Ling Xiao sneered. Since Han Feng didn't want to give him face, he couldn't blame him. Han Feng's face turned cold, and a cold killing intent flashed in his eyes. He was also a pro-disciple in the Sky Demon Palace. His status was extremely high. In the entire Wild Demon region, even those half-step supreme being old monsters had to be respectful to him. However, he was now provoked by a young man who came out of nowhere. Young master, he seems to be Ling Xiao. Beside Han Feng, a demon expert's eyes flashed as he whispered. Ling Xiao. Which Ling Xiao? Han Feng was stunned. The Ling Xiao who killed South Celestial Venerable, Qi Sha, Pajun, and Tan Lang in Heaven God City. Legend has it that Ling Xiao obtained the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Han Feng's body trembled. It's him. South Celestial Venerable and the 3 stars of the Star Palace were all experts of the Imperial Path. They were extremely famous, and even Han Feng was wary of them. Ling Xiao had killed 4 of them consecutively. Ling Xiao was no longer a nobody. He was already regarded as one of the top geniuses in the War God continent by the older generation. Han Feng couldn't help but be wary of him. However, when he thought of the legend that Ling Xiao obtained the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God, his heart burned with passion. You're Ling Xiao. It's not impossible to redeem Yi Feng and Yi Meng. Give me the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God in exchange. Han Feng rolled his eyes and smiled maliciously. He's Ling Xiao. The one who killed South Celestial Venerable and the 3 stars of the Star Palace. Did he really obtain the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God? It's possible. Look, he's only in the noble realm. If he can kill South Celestial Venerable, he must have a big secret. Hee, Han Feng from the Sky Demon Palace isn't someone to be trifled with. The person behind him is the Sky-Burning Demon Emperor, the young master of the Sky Demon Palace. Legend has it that the Sky-Burning Demon Emperor has already broken through to the half-sovereign realm. He's known as the peerless genius who has the highest chance of becoming a sovereign. When the crowd heard Han Feng's words, they were all shocked. Their eyes fell on Ling Xiao, and some of them started to discuss among themselves. The news of the Heavenly God Convention had spread throughout the War God continent, and Ling Xiao had become the focus of attention. Not to mention, he was rumored to have the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Many people had their eyes on him. The inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God? Not to mention that I don't have it. Even if I did, do you think you're worthy? Here's 1,000,000 pure yang pills. Whether you want them or not, I'm taking the siblings away. Ling Xiao smiled coldly, and the storage ring in his hand flew to Han Feng. He walked up to Yi Feng and Yi Meng, and turned to leave. Ling Xiao, Yi Feng and Yi Meng were also affected by my slave seal. Do you believe that I can kill them with just a thought? Han Feng's face turned pale. Ling Xiao's actions were a slap to his face. He didn't give him any face at all. Han Feng's voice also became threatening. You can try. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Without turning his head, he left the crowd with Yi Feng and Yi Meng. Chapter 582. Young Master, what should we do? The Demon Clan expert beside Han Feng asked. Let him be arrogant for a while. Since he dares to come to Two World City, he can forget about leaving. I believe there will be people who are interested in him. Han Feng's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He turned around and left with the crowd. The news of Ling Xiao's appearance spread throughout Two World City almost instantly. There were many figures outside the Heavenly Fragrance restaurant. They were all searching for Ling Xiao's whereabouts. The Two Realms city was suddenly filled with undercurrents. Ling Xiao didn't care at all. He returned to the Heavenly Fragrance restaurant with Yi Feng and Yi Meng. With Ling Xiao's current means, he didn't have to worry at all as long as he didn't send out a supreme martial artist. Brother Ling, after you were exposed today, I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble. Jian Yuanqin said worriedly. Yes, Brother Ling. Those people from the Sky Demon Palace are very arrogant and overbearing. Han Feng must have a grudge against you. He didn't dare to do anything in Two World City today. I'm afraid he will secretly attack you. Xiong Xiaohei said quickly. Don't worry. I don't care about the Sky Demon Palace. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes fell on Yi Feng and Yi Meng. Yi Feng looked to be about 17 or 18 years old. He was already at the first level of the Heaven Realm. His talent seemed to be quite extraordinary. Yi Meng was very weak. Although she was beautiful, her face was pale and sickly, which made people feel pity for her. Thank you for saving our lives, benefactor. Yi Feng and Yi Meng knelt down in front of Ling Xiao. Their faces were full of gratitude as they bowed respectfully. Ling Xiao didn't stop them. He deserved this bow. After the two of them kowtowed 3 times, Ling Xiao helped them up. How did the descendants of Yi Qianjue become Han Feng's slaves? Tell me. Ling Xiao said slowly. He could see that Yi Feng and Yi Meng had the dark bloodline in their bodies. Especially Yi Meng. Her dark bloodline was comparable to Yi Qianjue's in the past. That was why her meridians were blocked and she couldn't cultivate. The dark bloodline was very strange. It had to be activated with a special method. Otherwise, the body would be very weak and the life source would be eroded by the power of darkness. If it was the great sun demon Venerable, he might be able to discover the extraordinariness of Yi Feng and Yi Meng's bloodline. However, Han Feng did not have the ability to do so. Benefactor, you know about the ancestor? Yi Feng said in surprise and shame. Yi Qianjue is the 3rd disciple of the heaven-devouring sovereign. I've heard of his deeds. Moreover, the two of you possess the bloodline of darkness. How did you end up in such a state? Ling Xiao sighed and asked. Benefactor, there is something you don't know. Yi Feng laughed bitterly and said, "Since the calamity 10,000 years ago and the disappearance of my ancestor, my Yi clan has fallen into decline. Our ancestors' inheritance wasn't left behind, and coupled with the fact that the Yi clan has very few descendants, the Yi clan isn't the Yi clan from all those years ago. Our parents passed away a long time ago, leaving me and my sister to depend on each other. A few years ago, when I was picking herbs in the savage domain, I was unintentionally captured by Han Feng and became his slave." After listening to Yi Feng's explanation, Ling Xiao finally understood the Yi family's situation. The heavenly book of darkness that Yi Qianjue cultivated was also a supreme martial art that Ling Xiao had passed down. Ling Xiao had found it in a ruin and it was very compatible with the bloodline of darkness. It was extremely powerful. If the heavenly book of darkness could be passed down, the Yi clan would probably be in a different state. "Are the two of you willing to follow me? Yi Meng's physique is too weak. If she can't awaken the bloodline of darkness in time, her life might be in danger." Ling Xiao glanced at the two siblings and smiled. Ling Xiao could see that Yi Feng wasn't telling him the complete truth. Perhaps he was still on guard. The Yi clan was probably hiding something. "Life in danger. Benefactor, we are willing to follow you. Please save my sister's life. Even if Yi Feng has to be a cow or a horse, he will repay your great kindness." Yi Feng was shocked and he quickly knelt down before Ling Xiao. Although he knew that Yi Meng's body was very weak and no matter how many heavenly treasures he gave her to strengthen her blood energy, he didn't think that her life would be in danger. Yi Meng's face turned even paler after hearing Ling Xiao's words. "Don't worry. Since they are following me, they are my people. Even the heavens can't take Yi Meng's life." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Back then, Yi Qianjue's bloodline of darkness was awakened under Ling Xiao's guidance. Therefore, it wasn't difficult for Ling Xiao. "Ling Xiao, this little girl's bloodline of darkness is very strong. If you want her to completely awaken, you must have a demon core of the darkness attribute. It must be at least at the demon emperor level." Taoist Wuliang looked at Yi Meng and said slowly. "That's right. If you want a perfect awakening, you will need at least a few stalks of sacred medicine. You should be able to find them in Two World City. Let's go to the treasure pavilion first." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. A demon core of the darkness attribute and it must be at the demon emperor level. It might be difficult to find in other places, but it shouldn't be difficult in Two World City. Yi Feng and Yi Meng looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with deep gratitude. A demon core of the demon emperor level and a supreme sacred medicine. They didn't even dare to think about it. However, Ling Xiao had prepared these treasures in order to awaken Yi Meng's bloodline of darkness. They couldn't be more grateful. Ling Xiao was going to the treasure pavilion. Jian Yuanchen, Xiong Xiaohe, and Qing Jia had nothing to do, so they also planned to follow Ling Xiao to take a look. The treasure pavilion was located all over the War God continent. In Two World City, it was also one of the most magnificent buildings. A 9-story pavilion rose from the ground. It occupied an area of thousands of feet. It was like a giant tower that reached the sky, emitting a mysterious light. This was the treasure pavilion of Two World City. At the entrance of the treasure pavilion stood a few vixens in gorgeous clothes. They were pretty and their big eyes were captivating. In particular, the fluffy fox tails behind them added to their charm. When Ling Xiao led Yi Feng, Yi Meng, and the others into the treasure pavilion, Taoist Wuliang's eyes widened and his saliva almost flowed out. Even Xiong Xiaohe's face was full of embarrassment. "Brother Ling, those people are following us sneakily. It seems that they know your identity." Jian Yuanchen glanced behind him and said slowly. Behind Ling Xiao and the others, there were some martial artists with obscure auras. They followed them like passers-by. They looked sneaky and kept looking at Ling Xiao. "Don't worry about them." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He didn't care at all and walked straight into the treasure pavilion. "Young friend Ling, we are honored by your presence in our treasure pavilion. We haven't seen each other in Heavenly God City for many days. I didn't expect us to be so fated. An old and peaceful laughter came. The great elder of the treasure pavilion, Chen Tong, who had white hair and white beard, walked towards Ling Xiao with a smile in his eyes. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.